Watch out, party people. Fun times ahead. Choo choo. Oh god. Oh no. Shut your mouth. That is the new way we're gonna launch stream. Watch out, party people. Fun times ahead. Choo choo. You can't ever get me to go back. That's exactly what it's gonna be from now on. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And we just keep learning here every night. Last night it was picking apart a PragerU video so we can see some of the dishonest tactics used by right propagandists. Tore that thing to shreds. And the night before that we had a nice, hearty, long gender debate with somebody who got caught in a loop at the end and couldn't make heads or tails of their own logic. But we're gonna make some video content rather than just some live content out of those couple streams over the next couple days. I think maybe I can get it done tomorrow. I'm gonna spend some daylight hours tomorrow. I've got some days off from work to just chill and do my own thing, not to take a vacation, just to relax. And my idea of relaxing is streaming. Engaging with you fine folk. I have good times doing this. I used to be so extremely stressed about it, but now it's just good times. This is how I enjoy myself. So I think some daylight hours tomorrow. I will spend some time making actual YouTube videos out of first the gender debate and then the PragerU video dissection. And I think I'd also like to make some short content out of that gender debate because there are just some fun zingers in there. I listened to the whole thing back and it's just fun. It's a fun conversation until it got to the very end where it was just tedious and inane. I wanted to bash my head against a wall because this person just did not have an open mind to processing new ideas. And so we kept going back to the same one over and over and over again. It's like, already debunked, dude. We can move on. But anyway, that's not what we're doing tonight, or it might be what we're doing tonight. We'll see who comes up and wants to be a pest. Pound cake. Nice. Catching it live. Good to see you in YouTube chat. Another thing I need to do during daylight hours is I gotta talk to you some more about that, Pound Cake. Another thing I want to do during daylight hours tomorrow or in the next couple of days is I want to do some back of house work, improve the Twitch experience a little bit, get an auto mod in the Twitch chat, get the Twitch chat live on my feed. Just, you know, some minor things that I need to do. But that's in the next couple days. Tonight it's just more research until we get a debate up here. And that would just be so much fun. Love to have the debates come in. So Pound Cake, are you saying that you have not caught an actual live before? You have just, what, caught the VODs and then joined the Discord? Pound Cake, do I know you in real life? Or did you just stumble upon VODs and you're like, this is my jam? And if I know you in real life and I already forgot, then I'm sorry. That's... Wow. You were convinced this was material you liked from VODs. That's... I didn't know that was a thing that people do. Cool. Happy to know you. Happy to have you here. Welcome to your first Know Nothing Attorney live. Most of the chat goes on in Twitch chat, I'll have you know. Though we do have a couple people that show up and hold down YouTube chat from time to time. Lately it's been somebody here from the very beginning that's, oh my gosh, the people pouring in now. Pound Cake in Discord, legal nerd, you're just a legal nerd in general. You're hoping to go to law school, right? Welcome in, Evil Alien Robot and Yoshi Airhead. Evil Alien Robot, I'm hoping tonight's the night. I hope tonight is the night that you get to see a debate live. You missed the one 2 nights ago after making it for multiple nights in a row. But you will get to see that one. If you haven't watched the VOD already, I'm planning on making a video out of that to share on YouTube. It'll be way too long for most people, I imagine, but I had a good time re-listening to it. I was laughing a lot. Stuck on the 405. Pound Cake, are you saying that that's a highway, or is that something that's blocking you from getting to law school? I'm so confused. Yoshi Airhead, also welcome in. If I missed saying welcome in to you, because I got caught up in what people were saying. Unless somebody has something in particular that they want to work on tonight, I was going to go back to the TDS video research, which in particular I think we still need to wrap up E. Jean Carroll. Okay, LA Freeway. So I'm catching you at definitely a reasonable hour, starting stream at like 7:30 to 7:45. Wow. Look at me pulling off a reasonable time frame for someone. Though I guess probably some of my earliest viewers were a lot of international people, which is funny when your issues are American politics. Okay. So then just launching into it, we're going to switch over to our work. Need to change listing what we're doing. Seeker Maniac, welcome in. How's everybody doing tonight? Ready for 2026? God, I feel like it's been 2026 for half a year, but I guess that's because I deal in state fiscal years most of my life. Aliana's in. All the party people coming in. Y'all missed my new intro today. And y'all can't convince me that this is not the new intro for the channel. It was like, hey party people, or welcome party people, good times ahead, choo choo. That's exactly how it's going to be from now on, and you can't stop me. Okay, this is not the right document. Here we go. This should not be labeled JD. Good. I'm glad you're aboard, Aliana. Who are some of my favorite sources for current event coverage? The AP, the Washington Post. I just recently, the other night I got a subscription to Ground News, so I can have a better idea of who my sources are. I tend to just aggregate sources and know what's going on by how many different sources are reporting on stuff, and then digging into the facts separately. And I tend to not remember which source was reporting which detail. Am I a fan of the majority? Yeah, I like the Majority Report. The Majority Report is pretty damn reliable, and they're good people, and has my pseudo-celebrity crush of all time. Don't even, I can't. Need to get our research document up here. Do I participate in mutual aid? I like asking people for their personal witness reports. Man, you're losing me here. I don't understand what we're talking about. My personal witness reports? You asked me my personal witness reports. What do you mean? What do you mean by personal witness reports? Oh, people who have been there. Well, that's a hard person to find. Oh my god. Right, Pound Cake? Emma Vigland is probably the most attractive person I know. Just she's so freaking smart. And she's so funny. I can't. And as for mutual aid, no, I am I'm on a long road of recovery for multiple like social dysfunction issues, and I am just now trying to tap into my local community just on a social level, and then I hope to broaden my perspective to like engagement with my local community, like things like mutual aid and stuff like that. I would love to do that. I started off this channel trying to like broaden my network within my own personal community, like my neighborhood, and then it just started getting dark outside all the freaking time, and then like nobody wants to answer their doors. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to like build the channel, and then once it starts getting light outside again, then I will start introducing myself to more people in my community so that I can make community events and stuff like that. If no one else is going to do it, I will do it. But yeah, I need to get engaged with my like local lefty circles and all of that. Still trying to build my social capacity. I went to the dog park this evening, and everybody in the dog park, because it was cold, went to gather on the like the patio space where there were some heaters, and just usually everybody's spread out. It's not a problem, but then everybody was gathered on the patio, and I just started doing like my freaking twitchy jerk thing, the involuntary whatever. I'm learning. Trauma's a hell of a drug. Okay, so let's throw this up here. Nope, not that one. This one. And you can't let trauma stop you from doing shit. What did you do in the dog park? Dang, Shao, when we finally got around to defining fascism last night, I feel like you had already left. So that was disappointing. What did I do at the dog park? Well, I brought a couple of books that I'm reading. I'm trying to reread 7.5 Deaths, or yeah, the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And I find rereading even harder than reading as a person with ADHD. It's very, very hard to do. Like, I can't even pay attention to what happened in a single paragraph. So I brought my books tonight, and there were some people that I had met like once or twice at the dog park already there. Come to find out that there's like a regular crew. And I was like, well, I gotta try to build my relationships with the regular crew. Gotta get to know my people if I'm gonna try and make this dog park like a regular place for me and Lasagna. So just had some casual conversation, drank some cider, did my thing. I am licensed in Texas only. Yeah. I almost got licensed in a federal court in Texas, but then, like, right as I was in the process of getting licensed to practice for a federal court here, um, I'm sorry, there are two different Aliana accounts? What is going on? Now I don't even remember saying. Then I had to leave that job. I was working in litigation for the first year of my career, and during that time, while I was studying for the bar exam and while I was practicing for the first year, we were going through like the rockiest parts of our marriage, and stuff sucked. So I don't even know how much I liked living in Houston. I don't know how much I liked being a litigator. I think I liked being a litigator because everything was miserable. And we got to the point where we started thinking, like, or at least I started thinking, divorce is a for real option. And if we're going to start talking divorce, then I need to get us back home where both of our support networks are. And then I will feel way better about splitting and leaving her with nothing, because she has no feet under her. She doesn't have a career. She's never had a 40-hour-a-week job. She has no money of her own. So I at least need to take her back to where her support network is. Even though she doesn't talk to them. Even though she doesn't like them. Even though I like them more than she does, I will pawn her off on them so that I don't have to deal with her anymore. So, took the first job I could get back in Austin. Thankfully, it was one that paid as well. Yeah, I made the mistake of getting into a fundy Christian marriage, and she was still living with her parents when I adopted her. It was a mistake. Thanks. I have a chronic illness called being good-natured, and I'm willing to go out of my way, even for people I don't like, to be kind and considerate. I don't want to make anyone's life hard. How do I like living in Texas? It's a complicated question. I grew up with a lot of Texas pride. And then I fucking grew up. And now I get to have the honor of telling my daughter that the Alamo is a horrendous piece of history. The Alamo would be better forgotten than remembered. And then, come to find out, like 2 months ago, that my dad had a hand in some egregious racial gerrymandering after the Civil Rights Act, working for a particularly shitty Texas governor that my grandmother also worked for. So now I've got some family history very directly related to Texas. And now I'm just thinking, Texas has a lot of potential. And I hope to do something to help that potential grow and make Texas a better place. Right now, it's a very scary place to live. My daughter goes to school in a public school system that currently has on hiatus, if I remember correctly. I think it's currently going through the courts. What's the word I'm looking at? Like a syllabus, a curriculum that requires teaching the Bible in school if the schools want money from the state. That's horrific. The state also has mandated the 10 Commandments being in the school classroom. That might also be in the courts right now. Because I know at the beginning of the year, I asked my daughter's teacher, I was like, hey, I don't see the 10 Commandments up in here. Which I realized after the fact was a terrible way to put that, because I just put that teacher in a situation where she has no idea what my feelings on that are. So I'm sorry, Miss Lore's teacher. If you had to deal with me doing that. But she was like, yeah, I like to just pretend that that's not a requirement until somebody tells us to put them up. And I was like, great, perfect, love that. So it still isn't in practice in my daughter's classroom, but I have already explained to my daughter that she doesn't have to show any respect to the 10 Commandments if they're put up on the wall. I also taught my daughter from an early age, I'm like, you don't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance if you don't want to. I think it's a horrible thing to require kids to do. But then also, you know, with abortion the way it is in Texas, you know, women are dying. It's a travesty. And I'm scared for my daughter to have to grow up in that. But being divorced and having joint custody kind of makes any kind of change difficult. And, you know, I would be in a different situation if, like, I were making decisions for my daughter myself. I would probably have to decide to pick up and leave and move somewhere else where I didn't have to be worried about her well-being. But since I am stuck here, I guess I have shifted my mentality to think, you know, my family has done great damage to this state. So it is nice to think that I can try to put some effort into righting that wrong. I don't believe in blood libel. I don't believe I'm responsible for my father's actions or my grandmother's actions, but it is nice to think that I can be a counterbalancing force to some degree. My biblical woman trades assets. What? I see so fundy Christian trad wife. Yep. Do you ever consider homeschooling, or is that not feasible to you? I would not. After seeing my wife's family, I'm not. I mean, I hate to use anecdotal evidence as, you know, a basis, but I don't want to rely on homeschooling. Homeschooling is bad. Even accredited private schools would be better. Yeah, homeschooling is... Ugh. We have been in the same boat, I promise. Yeah, we're both in the Pound Cake. We're both in the Emma Vigeland boat, and I promise you, I will win Emma Vigeland's heart before you will. I'm sorry. It's already game over. I know from firsthand experience. Yeah, the day I realized my fiance didn't know who Gandhi was, I'm sorry, what? You just have that level of lack of experience and lack of awareness? Ollie on the second cup of wine, let's go. Yeah, she didn't know who Gandhi was. And then there was also all the deprogramming that I had to subtly do, which was also, I guess, kind of deprogramming myself, because it was like I had reprogrammed myself to be a fundy Christian, but I also had learned a bunch of shit. So I was like, okay, we can be fundy Christians, but we can't just be wrong. So let me educate you subtly so that I can try to point you into a smarter person direction. And then also over time, just me going, why did I start thinking these things? And it's funny that I feel like I deprogrammed her a little bit, and then me watching her be deprogrammed gave me permission to feel like I could also deprogram myself. So we kind of worked our way out of fundy Christendom together, despite how much we didn't like each other the whole time. Anyway, any other personal questions for me before we move on? I like that nobody questioned whether the Alamo should be remembered. Good job, everybody. Everybody's on the right page. Texians were assholes. As much as I would like to, like, be a Texas hipster and call myself a Texian instead of a Texan, it's kind of a worse identity. Novel worthy story writing on God's end. Secular God, right? I love I love saying things in public that like secularly bless you, or good secular Lord, blah blah blah. Secular? I'm gonna take you literally because I take everything literally. I don't know what the eyebrows smiley face after you don't know what something means, but Secular just means a non-religious institution based on, generally based on reason. Okay, all right. I had to explain this to people as I was leaving the dog park too. I'm like, I think you're joking, but I will take everything literally because I don't know. I can't process this. Yes, oh non-religious God. Oh God of the secular world. Okay, where were we in our research? Oh, science. I like to take it that one other ridiculous step further. Fundy ex-wives are the worst. And now she doesn't have anything holding her back. Now she is just, well, I was about to identify her by some of the shit that she deals with, but that's not kind to other people that are dealing with those things. So I'm just gonna say she's a piece of work. Now she's a piece of work that has nothing that is like modulating her behavior or moderating her behavior. Okay. Where we left off was on April 10th, Trump and Carroll were given 10 days to declare whether they would attend the trial. Oh yeah. Trump tried to get out of his trial by going to a rally. Did he end up doing that? Did he end up missing his trial? Huh. When I say his trial, it was a civil trial, so he wasn't on trial. Trump was deposed by Carroll's lawyer. Trump reiterated that Carroll was not my type and told the lawyer, "You would not be a choice of..." Whoa! God, he is such a piece of shit in every way imaginable. He'll always surprise you with the next step he can do to be a piece of shit. Accused Carroll of attempting to sabotage his 2024 presidential campaign by keeping him busy with litigation. Trump called the litigation a hoax comparable to supposed ruses against him related to both Russia and Ukraine. Trump reiterated that Carroll was not my type and told the lawyer, "You would not be a choice of mine either under any circumstances." I don't imagine that was a question in the deposition. I don't imagine the attorney was like, "Would you assault me?" Yeah, I'm gonna add that. Just completely unprompted. She's not my type. Trump was shown the photograph he had characterized as a reception line at a charity event, but proceeded to mistakenly identify the image of Carroll as his second wife, Marla Maples, despite his first wife, Ivana Trump, also being in the picture. Upon recognizing his mistake, he protested that the photo was very blurry. He then confirmed that all of his wives were his type, and that by type he primarily meant physical type. Depositions can pull out some really weird statements. What do you mean by type, Mr. Trump? Had multiple wives, and he cheated on all of them. He cheated on his first with his second, and his second with his, I think, with Melania. And then he cheated on Melania with Stormy Daniels while Melania was pregnant. Yeah, just a stand-up guy. Just your typical stand-up Christian representing guy. Which, this isn't even, like, fuck, it's not even in our list that he just cheats on all of his wives. Like, everyone knows this, and no one has any concerns about him as a, like his moral character. I'll throw it. I'll throw it down here. Cheating on his wives? Question mark. Well, damn, Aliana, step up your game. Step up your good dude game. You don't have to cheat on anybody. You can just break up with them. Because cheating on them is way worse than breaking up on them. Like, you're communicating, like, you're not even worth breaking up with. I would rather have the relationship with you for what I got out of it than treat you like a decent person. I hope, like, Aliana, I'm not going to harp on you, I swear. But as a last thing I want to say, I imagine if you're cheating on people regularly, then that means that the way you're looking at relationships is as a benefit to you. Maybe try reframing your view of relationships as a mutual benefit. The other person should be getting value out of this relationship from you. Yeah, I mean, it can. Debate you how. Hopefully in a friendly way. Hi, Eleni. Welcome in. Aliana, I can't tell if you're being facetious or not. I'm so embarrassed. I can't tell when people are being literal or facetious. I don't know. Eleni, preferably on Discord. The Discord channel is this is one of the things that I plan to do tomorrow. I need to make a command to here. I can just do it. Facetious means like being disingenuous with what you're saying. But generally, like, in like a fucking around kind of way. Not trying to be deceptive. So, Eleni, you can join the Discord, and then you can come up in the voice chat, preferably, is how we would do this. I like to be able to talk to people. There you go, guys. That's for you. So, Eleni, you gonna jump up in voice chat? Do you want to let me know what you want to talk about? Debate this, Kash Patel shouldn't be in jail? Did Kash Patel get arrested? Did I miss something? Kash Patel is responsible for murder? Because Kash Patel is responsible for murder. And to that degree, I would say it's like aiding and abetting, so that would make you responsible in the same way. So I think it would be suitable to call you a murderer, not you, Kash Patel. Just like Donald Trump is a murderer, Kash Patel is a murderer. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about Hegseth, not Kash Patel. I wouldn't doubt that Kash Patel would be a murderer. Perjury isn't that big of a deal? Well, I mean, fuck the whole justice system then. I mean, I think perjury should be a pretty big fucking deal, because we need to have a standard for what, like, speaking under oath means. We need to hold people to account for their words when they are speaking to a court or to Congress. I don't know what the punishment for perjury is, but I'm willing to bet that I would think it is too light. I got you. I mean, I'm starting to take it that, like, you're a leftist, too. So then I will just go back to our research, then. Not to say that I won't debate a lefty on something that they disagree with me on. I mean, I'm going to be doing a collaboration with another streamer in a couple of weeks, where I'm going to go on and talk about the need for a national constitutional convention, and he's going to tell me why he thinks I'm wrong. But that's fine. I've already talked to my constitutional law professor about this. I'm sure that I won't be surprised by any points that weren't brought up by my constitutional law professor, so I got this. I know what I'm doing. I made a whole video on the Constitutional Convention. It is necessary because we're dealing with a Hydra problem. And I won't go into the whole rant from the video about how we're dealing with a Hydra problem, but that's what we're dealing with, and the only way to solve a Hydra problem is with a Constitutional Convention. Okay. Where were we at? Despite attacking Carol for not remembering the exact year of the alleged incident... let's get where I am. Yep. One up. There we go. Despite attacking Carol for not remembering the exact year of the alleged incident, Trump was unable to state the exact years of the beginning or end of any of his marriages when asked. Aliana, this is another thing. Like, you should be able to tell when your significant relationships beginning oh my god. When they began and when they ended. Claimed he was unsure if he had any extramarital affairs during his first marriage. Oh my god. Oh my god. It says, despite his affair having regularly featured in New York tabloids and being referenced by his criminal helicopter pilot who tried to get him to stop having an affair, according to that helicopter pilot. Plenty of leftists don't believe in the Constitution at all, though. The Constitution is laws for the government, not for the people. It's not perfect, but it's all we have. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, there are definitely people on the left that don't believe in the Constitution. Like, you know, like hardcore communists would believe that there shouldn't be a state at all, which I think guarantees no one's security in any way, but okay. You know, do your thing. I won't yuck your yum, communists. But it's rules for the government. But, I mean, the problem is that we are a republic. So the goal is to make the government reflect the will of the people. So it is supposed to be rules for operating the will of the people over the people. So it's supposed to be rules for the people. It's supposed to be ways of limiting the way that our power is used by other people. I mean, we have all the Bill of Rights too, but most people don't even know what that is. Well, we can't say that here. That's what we got right there. Bill of Rights. My favorite part of the Constitution, even though my channel is primarily focused on Article 5. But primarily focused on Article 5 because this is what we care about. Okay, despite attacking Carol for not remembering the exact year of the alleged incident, Trump was unable to state the exact years of the beginning or end of his marriages. Oh, yeah, we already read this whole paragraph. Okay, Trump reiterated in his deposition that he did not know... I do want to actually include that, though. There we go. I'll add that down here. Trump reiterated in his deposition that he did not know Carol before she sued him, calling her a nut job and inaccurately asserting that in her CNN interview with Anderson Cooper, she actually indicated that she loved the alleged assault and said it was very sexy to be raped. Yeah, this is not something that she said. This is, for anyone unaware, this is frequently misrepresented by the right as Carol claiming that she thinks that rape is sexy. That is not what she said in that quote. Carol had actually said, "I was not thrown on the ground and ravished," which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual, it just hurt. I think most people think of rape as being sexy. He said Carol alleged he swooned her, a word he said he used because he thought it would be more polite than saying fucked. Hold on. I gotta... Okay, we're looking at the definition of swoon, because I have to make sure that I'm not fucking crazy here. Swoon, faint from extreme emotion. I think he's trying to say that he wooed her, or that the allegation is that he wooed her, but Trump is so fucking stupid he doesn't know what words are. There we go. Fix it back up. Just another example of him being a fucking idiot. And I don't know how people think that he's a smart person. It is baffling. Yeah, despite the negative press, Kofefe is... why can't I... there we go. Kofefe. That was when he fell asleep on the toilet. Allegedly. When asked if he had made the statements in the Access Hollywood tape, Trump responded, "Well, historically, that's true with stars. If you look over the last million years, that's largely true, unfortunately or fortunately." He then agreed that he was such a star. Also, just a fucking weird thing to say. Women will allow you to sexually exploit them if you're a star. Without their consent, they will allow you to do things and get away with it. Unfortunately or fortunately. There we go. What the fuck does that mean, dude? Well, I think fortunately they let me do things non-consensually. The fuck? Okay. Carol v. Trump 2. Kerfuffle. Despite the negative press kerfuffle. Huh. No, that might be the best explanation I have ever seen. No, it was coverage. That's what he was typing, coverage, and fell asleep. Despite the negative press coverage. But kerfuffle is the second best explanation I have ever seen for that. just imagining him falling asleep while typing it is so funny. Accidentally hitting send. Devil's advocate? What do you mean? Are you reading ahead and I'm not there? Are you talking about the movie Devil's Advocate? The movie that made, oh, what's his name? Keanu Reeves commit incest at the end of the movie? Surprise! That's all I remember about that movie. I don't remember anything else. I just remember sitting there at the end of the movie going, I'm sorry. What? Why have you done this? Where are we at? On November 24th, 2022, Carroll sued Trump for battery under the Adult Survivors Act, a law passed the previous May which allows sexual assault victims to file civil suits beyond expired statutes of limitations. I think I already wrote that down, but yeah, I can add this part. 69, not a good time to point out the 69. Austin, keep moving. Act like you didn't note it just now. Carroll made a renewed claim of defamation, citing Trump's statements on Truth Social from October. The second suit alleges that Trump manhandled Carroll, pulled down her tights, groped around her genitals, and raped her. This reputedly left Carroll unable to develop sexual relationships. Carroll sought unspecified damages for the two charges and for Trump to retract his Truth Social statements about her. Lawyers for Trump said in a December 19th court filing that they would request a dismissal of the lawsuit, partially on the basis that the New York law is invalid due to its allegedly contradicting the state's constitution regarding due process. I feel like I got this far before. Did I scroll back up? Judge Kaplan set the trial date for April 25th, 2023, denied the request to dismiss the lawsuit. This, I think, is where I was. Yeah. Wow. Just retread ground. Fuck. No, evil alien robot, not nice. It's not nice. This is not a good situation to use that in. And for all the, because evil alien robot has done this to me and reminded me of things that I try not to let my brain think of, I've now thought of a different thing that I try not to think of. And for all the millennials in chat, you're welcome. You just lost the game. Carroll's lawyer asserted that the motion was a bad faith effort to taint the potential jury pool. On February 15th, Judge Kaplan dismissed Trump's offer as an out-of-line delay tactic. Yep. On February 16th, 2023, Trump's lawyers requested that the allegations from Leeds and Stoynoff be barred as evidence. Kaplan also denied a joint request from both parties to consolidate the two lawsuits into one trial. That's interesting. No, both sides. No. Don't know if that's important, but I do want to include it. At least he's not saying, what? 6, 7? I have a friend with kids, and he has to, he constantly enjoys making 6, 7 miserable for his kids so that they stop saying it at home. He has to pull the whole dad makes it awful because dad does it thing. And thankfully my daughter has never, she's maybe once said 6, 7, but more like making fun of other people saying 6, 7. So I've got that going for me. I'm doing something right. On February 23rd, Trump's lawyers requested that the defamation claim in the second lawsuit be dismissed, arguing that his Truth Social post from October was merely a response regarding the first lawsuit, which mostly repeated previous positions. That's definitely how that works, guys. It was thus protected under supposed absolute litigation privilege provided by New York State civil rights law. We looked that up last time. On March 11th, Judge Kaplan asked Trump and Carroll if they had any objection to the use of an anonymous jury. On March 23rd, Kaplan ruled that the jury would be anonymous for the trial. He cited Trump's incendiary rhetoric against perceived enemies ahead of his criminal indictment in New York related to hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. On April 10th, Kaplan ruled that the jury would be anonymous even to the lawyers involved in the case, citing threats by Trump supporters against Judge Juan Merchan, who was overseeing the New York criminal investigation of the Trump organization. On April 14th, Kaplan upheld his ruling for an anonymous jury and denied a request from Trump's team for information about its members on the basis of possible bias after they cited negative online comments made about him on Carroll's June 9, 2019 New York article. Wow. This is a beautiful thing that I feel like I made notes of somewhere. Yeah, the jury is anonymous. And I hadn't thought about this when we went over this before. It's a beautiful piece of justice that the one time somebody stuck through to get probably not the one time, but one very visible time that somebody stuck through a trial with Trump, which I'm sure involved a lot of very pushy negotiation tactics to try to get them to settle. Actually going through with trial, because Trump is such a piece of shit and treats the public like a piece of shit, it came back and bit him in the ass that he couldn't act like a piece of shit to the jury, because his history of being a piece of shit made it so that he didn't have the knowledge he would need to be a further piece of shit. That's beautiful. That is art. It's art. Thank you, Judge Kaplan. Did I hear that Stephen A. Smith wanted to run for president? I don't off the top of my head know who Stephen A. Smith is. Oh, I've seen this guy. I think he's an ESPN guy. Oh, that's weird. Please stop. If you are not a celebrity because of your involvement in politics, please don't bring your celebrity to politics. I don't want it anymore. Do you think any of Trump's followers actually believe Trump is smart, or do you think most of them just wanted to hurt minority groups and poor people? I think they think he's smart. I think Trump is as it has been put many times, he is a dumb person's idea of what a smart person is. And it's also a very clear example of how the bourgeoisie has poisoned the mind of the working class to think that if you are above me economically, it must be because you deserve it. There's no reason to think that at all. But we are trained to think that, like animals. Like animals, we are trained to think you are rich because you deserve it. And Trump supporters bite on that hard. They want justification for their little pound cakes. Welcome in from YouTube chat. Welcome into Twitch from the Abyss. Happy to officially have you in the Twitch chat. Happy to have you officially here for a stream. To me, you're a hero for engaging in the Discord before you had the opportunity to be present for a live stream. Totally skipping over the entire part about people being born into better family situations than others. Exactly. Like, in these conversations, they completely ignore the fact that these same people fight so hard to get rid of inheritance taxes. You have proof that Hakeem Jeffries is running for president 2028? Would you like to see it? Personally, I don't care, but if you want to show your amusing proof, go for it. Smaller communities are more comfortable to engage in, LOL. Oh god, please no. Well, little pound cakes, I hope someday that our community is much larger, and I hope you still feel comfortable here, because I hope to maintain a vibe of appreciating all of my people that are here. Eleni, you're new. Do we have anybody else new? No? If Xiao's still around. Just for the new people, hey, I'm proud of you. If you have something that you are proud of yourself for, that you wish it was like socially like allowable to ask for somebody to be proud of something with you, you are welcome to do that here. You can tell me that you're proud of something you did and ask if I can be proud of it with you, and I will be. Lil Pound Cakes, if you want to go by Know Nothing Paralegal, I welcome it. Go for it. Evil Alien Robot, you are not new. You've been sitting around for days waiting to, like, catch a debate. And, hey, Evil Alien Robot, if you can either wait a couple more days for me to put it up on YouTube as its own separate video, or you can go watch the VOD from 2 nights ago and skip the first voice chat that I have, which is mostly just, like, answering some chill questions or addressing some... somebody had some questions about a legal issue that they had years ago, and they just wanted more information. Not a lot interesting happened in that conversation, but after that, probably, damn, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. Somewhere in there, I started having a chat with Tim, and you will see his name up on the screen. It says Tim, 24 years old, he, him. That way you'll know I'm talking to him. If you go find that chat, you can watch that debate and you can see how it went. It was a fun time. This is not your first stream. Stop trying to steal thunder from little pound cakes. Evil alien robot, do you just want me to say that I'm proud of you? I'm proud of you. You've gone through some shit, and you're still fucking here. Way to go. That's not nothing. That takes some toughness. The fuck am I doing? On April 10th, Trump and Carroll were given 10 days to declare whether they would attend trial. Wait, I swear that I was reading that same thing earlier? What happened? Oh, I was reading it from my own document, so I should have found that. What's wrong with me? On April 11th, defense attorney Takapina asked to delay the trial by a month, arguing that media coverage of the Daniel scandal would taint the jury pool. I'm sorry, I keep doing shit wrong in this state. Can you push out my trial so that all the shit that I keep doing wrong doesn't make it to the ears of the people that will be looking at me doing stuff wrong? So dumb. You lost everything by switching to being left-wing? I'm sorry to hear that. It's hard, and that's one of the things that I really want to do with this channel is allow people to have a place to land. I mean, having an online community that welcomes you isn't like a huge thing. I mean, maybe it is, but I at least want people to have that. Because when you leave something like MAGA, you're not just losing your political position, you are losing an entire community. It is the same thing that happens with a religion, with a cult. You have to deal with the separation and the separation anxiety. Hey, I'm gonna turn the PragerU breakdown into a video too. That was a good one. I had a good time breaking down that PragerU video, which is funny because Shadow Wolf posted that PragerU video in the Discord, and I was like, well, I already don't trust it. And sure enough, I'm sure that I could tear this to pieces if I just sat down and watched it. And sure enough, all you have to do is sit down and watch a PragerU video and have your doubts confirmed. Search for IQ in the YouTube chat says moral clarity is a great gift obtained, I believe, by switching to the left. Yeah, I mean, that's true, and I don't think that's like something that should be minimized. I think that's a good point. Is I remember as a Christian, as a fundamental Christian righty, you have to keep like explaining things away, and you're sitting there aware that like, oh, my opinion is, but like I can come up with a reason that it's less, or at least I can feel in like I can gut check it a little bit, and maybe I can make myself feel like it's less, because I've associated it with some idea that I hold in higher regard. Going to the left where the facts are, like, it makes it so that you don't have to do that anymore, because that feeling sucks. I remember that feeling. Nah, I was curious about left wing, then like I literally lost everything. My grandma died, lost my house, my horse died, my sister went to prison, and like I was injured at work, had to move to live with my mom again. I've been messing with the right wing for 7 years. The past 6 years were actually horrid. So what made the pivot? Was it the experience of having nothing? Oh my god. Carroll's lawyer argued that Trump instigated and sought to benefit from much of the very coverage about which he now complains. On April 17th, Kaplan agreed with Carroll's lawyer and ruled against the delay request, arguing that there was no reason to assume jury selection would be easier to conduct in May. God, yeah, eat shit over and over and over again. Just eat shit. Like, we'll do the Knives Out scene. Eat shit, eat shit, eat shit. You were trying to be a leftist? Would you mind explaining that more? Right-wingers intentionally don't keep up with current events so they don't feel obligated to explain what they're supporting. I imagine that that's more a thing today than it was back when I was a right-winger. You know, I'm finding this section that I'm writing that says noteworthy Trump claims to be far longer than I thought it would be. And I don't know why I thought it would be any shorter, because Trump just says a whole bunch of bullshit. I don't know why I thought that he wouldn't be saying just a bunch of wild bullshit. Thought socialism sounded cool, but like leftist circles are super like closed off. So I had to non-consensually put myself onto leftist spaces. Then you learn things. Fair. That's what I hate about a lot of the online discourse and what I hope to avoid. I want people to have a place to land. I want this to be a welcoming space. As I like to point out in this description up here, I welcome people to choose to have a casual chat about subjects rather than a debate. I don't want to force people to have debates, quote unquote. On April 13th, Trump's attorneys asked to reopen discovery about whether Carroll knew that her lawyer's firm had received donations from Democrat-aligned billionaire and LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman. What the fuck? I hate this person. I hate this person and the entire political concept that he espouses, he aligns with, that promotes. The fact that I have to explain to my MAGA coworker, like when she's like, and how many of them voted Democrat? I'm like, are you aware that we've run this country for 250 years, and for like 230 of them, it didn't matter who you voted for or who you donated to, because the system assumes that a person can have a political position and do their fucking job. If there is anyone I don't trust to do their job, it's MAGA. Because they are willing to set aside the rule of law to uphold their guy, like their guy and their stance. They don't give a shit. Well, that's another thing that we aim to do here, Eleni, is I am disgusted by my own profession and how difficult they make it to help people understand basic legal concepts. So, hey, I don't know that I've ever welcomed this before, but if anybody has a basic legal question, you are allowed to bring it to me. You are allowed to ask me. One of the things that I put up in the debate topics for fun is the silly little, like, yelling fire in a crowded theater. Like, that's not illegal, generally. And then some people like to point out, yeah, it's not illegal because it was overruled in a different Supreme Court case. And then I go, no, that's wrong too. That's also not correct about the fire in a crowded theater issue. Leftists can be pretentious, even if by accident. When I was a right-winger, I was so intimidated and put off by people who boasted their education. I have the IQ for these spaces, but not the education. Democrats are not left-wing, and people can't wrap their minds around that, yeah? Would you be down to break down landmark SCOTUS cases? Sure, we can try that. I'm all for that. Do you have a specific, like, cases that you want to go down? I mean, we talked about Heller the other night when the veterans came in on Christmas evening drunk and high, like, as a collective, the collective of veterans that are drunk and high on Christmas evening, and want to come into some lefties chat and talk about the Second Amendment, which was not really a debate topic, but sure. I'm also not, like, I'm personally in favor of getting rid of guns, but it's not a political position I espouse. I mean, I guess we can talk about it. I can be mad about Heller. Heller's a stupid decision. Citizens United is garbage. Also, I'll tell you, I'm not super educated on Citizens United, but I know the impact that it has had. Free housing, please. We should have free housing. I don't know if that's what you're saying with free housing, please, but yeah, we should have free housing. Like, having free housing would be less expensive than the alternative. Grants Pass would be a good case to go over. Are you asking for me to switch from Trump research to Grants Pass? I don't even know Grants Pass. Once the housing bubble pops, it's going to be a party. No, not now. Not now, no nothing. All right. On April 13th, Trump's attorneys... What did I... Yeah. On April 13th, Trump's attorneys asked to reopen discovery about whether Carroll knew that her lawyer's firm had received donations from... Oh, right. This is insane. This is insane. Can we stop having this conversation? They're biased because they have a political opinion. That's not how that works. Judge Kaplan allowed discovery for the carefully circumscribed examination of that narrow question. Trump's attorneys requested an extra month to make this inquiry, but Kaplan refused to delay trial. On April 21st, the judge sealed the information related to Hoffman's alleged contributions as requested by Carroll's team. Oh, no, this needs to... hello? Oh. Silly me? What's happening? What am I doing? Did I not post the first half of that? There we go. Trial began on April 25th, 2023 in federal court. That day, the judge selected a jury of 6 men and 3 women, anonymous even to the judge, and it was arranged that the jury would be transported by U.S. Marshals from an underground garage throughout the trial. In opening statements that day, the judge advised both counsel to tell their clients to avoid comments likely to inspire violence. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm sure both counsel had to do that. God damn. Such an insane thing that the current president had to have a judge tell his counsel to advise not to inspire violence. That's an insane thing. Elaney got an auto-modded message here. Well, Elaney, it might have something to do with dying, and it might have something to do with the boomers pulling out. What is this? What are we looking at? City of Grants Pass. Oh, is this the case where it was upheld that they could criminalize being homeless? Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. No one cares what Trump promises. Now everybody just says, well, did you believe him? You couldn't possibly believe he was being serious. Problem with housing in my community is people think it's as easy as just move people. Most of our new buildings are for businesses migrating here to house the employees. Then the others are renovated for luxury apartments many people can't come close to affording. I mean, his voter base is so weird because as soon as as soon as it is revealed that he's lying about a promise, they don't care. But everything that they base their opinions on is like, well, he said blank. I'm like, why do you fucking care what he said? That's not how you judge whether or not he's good at something. Like the number of times that I have to listen to a lefty debate somebody online and they're like, well, what do you like about Donald Trump? And they're like, well, he said that he was going to do blank. I'm like, so the fuck what, dude? Can you acknowledge reality? Saying something is not like a valid reason to like someone. Not to like a politician. What does he do? Okay. On April 26th, Carol testified. She said she was unaware if any employees were present during the alleged incident because the department was on a different story, and she was focused on riding the escalator while also supposing that the encounter would make a humorous anecdote. She said after entering the dressing room, Trump slammed her against the wall, hurting the back of her head, and penetrated her before... Blah, blah, blah. She said she struggled against Trump, and upon leaving the store was extremely rattled and in disbelief about what happened. She talked with her friend Lisa Birnbach on the phone, thinking, if Lisa thought it was funny, then it was not a bad thing, and I didn't completely do a stupid thing. Carol recalled thinking, I had not processed it. I had not processed what was going on. Birnbach told Carol, who was laughing on the phone, that it wasn't funny, that Carol was raped and should report the assault to the police, Carol testified. Good fucking friend. Thank you, Lisa. Also, the people that say there was no evidence, dude, there's fucking testimony. That is evidence. I'm sorry. You can win a trial on testimony alone. If the jury finds it to be credible testimony, that's evidence. Sorry. It's also not hearsay, because that's not what hearsay is. Carol said that the following evening she told her friend and coworker Carol Martin, who reputedly confirmed Carol's fear that if she publicly discussed the incident, Trump would retaliate via his legal team. She further acknowledged her political distaste of Trump, but said, I'm settling a personal score because he called me a liar repeatedly, and it really has decimated my reputation. She said she did not go public during Trump's 2016 campaign because the more women who came forward to accuse him, the better he did in the polls. Rough. Rough. Confirmed Carol's fear that if she publicly discussed the incident, Trump would retaliate via his legal team. Okay. Dramatic music from the 30-minute video. Jury rooms 100% go through each witness and decide if you're full of shit or not. For sure. Yeah, that is like a major point of discussion for a jury. Like, is the witness credible? Has the witness given us any reason to think that they're not credible? My camera keeps losing focus. Also on April 26th, Carol's lawyers introduced a 2017 email exchange between her and Martin, indicating an intention to scheme by doing their patriotic duty. Indicating an intention to scheme by doing their patriotic duty. What? Carol stated that she was not scheming to bring down Donald Trump, as Tacopina suggested the messages could imply. A former Bergdorf Goodman manager testified that departments were often left. Okay. So. A former Bergdorf Goodman manager testified that departments were often left unattended and dressing rooms left open, though the doors would have automatically locked if closed. The judge ruled that evidence related to Reid Hoffman's funding of the trial was inadmissible. Good. Saying, I've determined there's virtually nothing there in terms of credibility. Yeah. Yeah. The judge ruled that evidence related to... Trump commented about the suit on Truth Social, calling it a scam and mentioning the inadmissible DNA evidence. Judge Kaplan warned Tacopina that Trump should stop making such comments as they constitute a potential liability to him. On April 27th, Carol was cross-examined by Tacopina, who asked why she did not scream during the alleged incident. She said she was too much in a panic to scream. She said she was surprised by the sudden turn to assault, which she alleged began with Trump pushing her against the wall and kissing her, and ended with no communication between them. She said she noticed no other customers as she left. I wonder if this is why Trump was at Bergdorf Goodman. I'm not bitching about anything, Zaddy. I'm literally reading out loud. What am I on about? Looks like a possible ban evader. Is this one of our trolls come back to have some fun? Zaddy. Yes, Zaddy. Zaddy. Aliana's lurking? Okay, that's fine. Well, Zaddy, if you're not gonna, contribute anything worthwhile, I can just ban you again. Do you want to chill? What do I want from you? You're Brock. I don't know, Brock. She said she had experienced daily regret since first suing Trump due to feeling threatened, elaborating that she had received many negative comments echoing Trump's attacks. Additionally, she said she was unable to recall the specific meaning of her 2017 email response to Martin. Carol said she omitted the incident from her diary because she thought it would force her to think about the negative experience, and said she was inspired to come forward by the #MeToo movement, especially the Harvey Weinstein sexual abuse cases. She said that although she wanted her book to succeed, she was not struggling financially. Tacopina mentioned the dress Carol allegedly wore during the incident, leading the judge to stop testimony for the day, though Tacopina claimed he had not planned to mention the barred DNA evidence. So Tacopina brought up the barred evidence during trial. Why? Explain? Alright, bye-bye, Zaddy. Alright, banned Zaddy. I hope that was worthwhile. I don't assume that anybody actually saw Zaddy's messages, but they all say they're restricted messages. Zaddy came in and asked what I was bitching about, then just said Zaddy, 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 what do you want from me? I'm broke. Do you like men? Zaddy, okay, bye-bye. That was the entirety of their contribution to the conversation. No, did not want to go to Harvey Weinstein. Carol was cross-examined by Takapina. We're going into evidence. Evidence. Carol finished testifying on May 1st, whereat Takapina cited inconsistencies in Carol's account, such as her stating that she had not used the Bergdorf fitting rooms in the years after the alleged assault before saying that she actually had used them since the incident. Takapina played an audio clip of Carol saying that she did not blame Trump for the cessation of her romantic life, but that she just didn't have the luck to meet that person that would cause me to be desirous again. Well, that's some pretty weak evidence, Takapina. What the fuck? And that maybe in that dressing room my desire for desire was killed. Carol had said that she was a big fan of Trump's show The Apprentice due to its outstanding witty competition. She also, I don't know what that has to do with the case. She also asked on social media, would you have sex with Donald Trump for $17,000? Even if you could A, give the money to charity, B, close your eyes, and he's not allowed to speak. Additionally, Takapina asked if Carol had... She also asked on social media. Oh, she asked on social media? That's weird. Carol, why would you do that? That's just... Ugh. I can't believe she asked that on social media. Additionally, Takapina asked if Carol had seen a 2012 episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit involving a rape in a Bergdorf fitting room, which Carol said she had not seen and called an astonishing coincidence. Takapina also referred to an incident in which Carol called the police to report vandalism to a mailbox, prompting her to explain, I don't want anybody to know that I suffer. Up until now, I would be ashamed to let people know what is actually going on. Okay. If I remember correctly, the Law and Order... I've heard the Law and Order thing called into question. Very random number, and surprisingly low? I know it's not lined up right now, but give me a second to make sure this source is worth anything before I go changing the size of the windows over here. An ad from Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon's a hero. He fought the Tremors. David Pakman being an APAC mouthpiece for $8,000 a month. David Pakman is an APAC mouthpiece? I remember I used to like David Pakman stuff, and then all of his... Then he started doing the freaking clickbaity headlines that I always felt like didn't convey anything about what he was trying to convey in the actual video, and I stopped watching it. Well, to be fair, Little Pound Cakes, I feel like Pakman's content used to be very different. tried to pretend he didn't know how to say APAC. I'm wondering if the APAC thing was the pivot point where his content changed. Well, I guess there was a rape scene at Bergdorf Goodman in Law & Order SVU. Okay. Doesn't really evidence anything. I'm not saying, like, that it's defensible. Also on May 1st, Trump's team requested a mistrial, alleging that the judge was being unfair in Carroll's favor. During cross-examination, Tacopina had questioned a passage from Carroll's 2019 book suggesting that all men should be sent to Montana for retraining, and the judge explained it was an allusion to Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal, the title of which Carroll took for her 2019 book's subtitle, which satirically suggests that poor Irish people might ease their economic troubles by selling their children as food to the rich. Tacopina complained that the judge, by providing this clarification, had bolstered Carroll's testimony. Judge Kaplan denied the request for a mistrial without comment. Oh, that's just boring. On May 2nd, witnesses testified for Carroll. Guys, you'll, if anything, not that this would ever happen, but if anybody ever offered me money to do this other than my audience, y'all would hear from me before you heard from anyone else that someone had offered me money. I would be clear on that. It's not like I am in need of money. Like, for a normal person, $8K a month is enough to never work again. It's not insane luxury, but like, seriously? Next, I'll ask for a mistrial due to Don Quixote tilting at windmills. Yeah. Do you know what part of town the judge took a walk in this morning? Can you believe it? The criminality of the behavior. On May 2nd, witnesses testified for Carroll. Back to music. There we go. Lisa Birnbach said that in 1996, remembering having met with Trump that January for a story she was writing, said that Carroll called her and, short of breath, alleged that Trump had just assaulted her. Birnbach reputedly offered to transport Carroll to the police, but the latter refused and requested that their conversation remain secret. Birnbach said she did not talk about it again until 2019, once Carroll had decided to go public with her account. Jessica Leeds, a retired stockbroker, testified that Trump had suddenly groped her in a similar manner to Carroll while Leeds was traveling on an airplane in the late 1970s. Leeds said a flight attendant invited her to move to first class and sat her next to Donald Trump, whom she did not know, and that he groped her breast and tried to kiss her, but that she broke away when he started reaching for her skirt. She recalled passengers sitting behind them, who did not intervene, and reasoned that the incident may have lasted less than a minute. Leeds said she did not speak about the incident, but that Trump later saw her and referred to her as that cunt from the airplane. Also on May 2nd, Tacopina confirmed that Trump would not testify at the trial. Wow. Talk about a pattern of behavior. So I guess that would make Jessica Leeds one of our 28 people. Evidence. But do you support Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state? Not morally? I don't think any state should exist non-pluralistically. But, like, legally, I defend its right to exist. And defending its right to exist doesn't mean that I think that the state is in any way a moral one. Like, legally, I support its right to exist as a Jewish state. Morally, I think that's atrocious. I'm not okay with ethno-states, morally. Like, what do you mean by okay with? Did we seriously, Maddie? Did I miss that news? God damn it. God damn it. And it's still... still with the excuse that we knew there were drugs on those boats. That doesn't make it okay. God damn it, dude. Can y'all just impeach him already? You can't just let one dude bring an entire country into war for no fucking reason. And not no fucking reason, to cover up his involvement in, like, child sex trafficking. You can't let one person take everyone to war for that. Maddie's pretty great. There's a reason why Maddie is my first mod. I don't know Maddie. Maddie's my hero. Guess who farted this guy? You know you cannot be held guilty of SA in a civil court. No shit. Have I ever said that someone was held guilty of SA in a civil court? New York changed their laws to go after Trump, not adding that should force you to be punished by your local bar association. That's literally in my notes. Guess who farted this guy? Maybe you're talking to someone else. You know Maddie? But, like, that's one of the CG's main roles. Use it properly. Shame on those senators allowing the Navy to carry this out. Not you, per se, but New York lawyers who went after the claim. Wait. New York lawyers should be punished by their local bar association for not mentioning in civil court that the law was recently changed? You don't think that was raised in court? Considering that the elements of the crime have to be explained to the jury? Not the crime, the elements of the tort. I'm sure they referenced the law that the elements arise under. Also, I'm not sure why you're saying any of this. Guess who farted this guy? Why would we be upset about somebody being held liable for their abuse of another human being? Like, even if we just give you the fact that New York changed their law for Donald Trump, why should we be upset about somebody being held liable for their mistreatment of another human being? It's not ex post facto. Well, let's look into that. Let's sit here and think about that for a minute. It's on one level not ex post facto, because somebody who sexually assaults a person is on notice that they can be punished for that act. They are on notice that that's what ex post facto worries about, is whether you are on notice for retribution or state action against you for your actions. If you are on notice for a criminal proceeding, like a potential criminal proceeding against you, and the statute of limitations runs for that reason, or it runs for that cause of action, then it arguably wouldn't be ex post facto just on this argument that they would then allow a civil case for cases that have run for their statute of limitations for criminal cases. And that may be why it's phrased the way it is, because that's an action that somebody is put on notice about. There doesn't have to be a criminal case. It's for an act that would be criminal if brought to trial. It doesn't have to be brought to trial for a person to be put on notice that it could be brought to trial for it. What's the name of this? Adult Survivors of Assault? Adult Survivors Act. Interesting. Okay, let's raise Calder v. Bull. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's bring it over. Let's do it on this window. Where are we? Huh? Oh boy, the Epstein postcard. Calder v. Bull. 1798. Conclusion. In a unanimous decision, the court held that the legislation was not an ex post facto law. The court drew a distinction between criminal rights and private rights, arguing that restrictions against ex post facto laws were not designed to protect citizens' contract rights. Justin Chase noted that while all ex post facto laws are retrospective, all retrospective laws are not necessarily ex post facto. Even vested property rights are subject to retroactive laws. So, beginning in 1798, you have the Supreme Court finding that ex post facto is a legal theory that applies only to criminal cases, which makes sense because we put extra limitations on state power when state power is brought to bear against individual citizens. So ex post facto is only a concern if the state is trying to punish people. If we're in the realm of civil court and we're trying to make people whole again, then there's no such thing as an ex post facto law, so whole thing just negated. Guess who farted this guy? Do you have any other pointless concerns with the Adult Survivors Act? Maddie, don't hang out in multiple streamers. Don't hang out in people unless they consent. Do you and Elaney hang out in streamers at the same time? we need to get back to Eugene Carroll. Womp womp. Yep. That's my humor. Dad jokes all the way down. Guess who farted? You still here? Sure does suck when you like raise a illegitimate legal concern with a lawyer who knows what the fuck they're talking about. What is the last thing we pasted in our notes here? Evidence. Oh, that's because it's fucking settled law. It was raised in 1798 to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court determined that it doesn't touch on... I mean, it specifically touched back then, or the Supreme Court specifically back then said it doesn't touch on contract law. And I think it's just been held to other civil issues since. Ex post facto is just a limitation on the state's use of state violence against citizens. Which makes sense because in many ways, like, you can bring any kind of tortious claim to a court. You can, like, bring it on somewhat new theory. And, like, the entire point of civil court is to just make the injured party whole. So if you can describe to a judge your injury and you can monetize that injury, you can measure it, then you can be made whole for it. So it wouldn't make sense to apply ex post facto to civil law. And this is where we talk about leads. Yep, okay, we're back on course. On May 3rd, video of Trump's deposition was shown to the jury. Trump stated that he rarely shopped at Bergdorf Goodman and reiterated that he did not read Carroll's written accusations in either her book or in her New York Magazine article. A clinical psychologist testified that she evaluated Carroll and found that she had been harmed by the alleged rape, but found no signs of mental disorder. Okay. This is two separate pieces of evidence. Journalist Natasha Stoyanov testified that while visiting Mar-a-Lago in December 2005, Trump brought her to look at a room while his wife Melania was changing outfits. He allegedly forced her against a wall and kissed her while she tried to push him off and told her they were going to have an affair, citing the well-known "best sex I've ever had" quote attributed to his previous wife, Marla Maples. Gross. Gross. Stoyanov said she only told a limited number of people because she did not want it to affect her career. A clip was played to the jury of Trump denying Stoyanov's claim while running for president, in which he implies she is unattractive. Additionally, on May 3rd, Tacopina announced that Trump's team would not present a defense case. Tacopina said that, due to health concerns, they decided not to call an expert witness they had proposed. What? 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 Okay. Sure. Y'all can do anything for any fucking reason, I guess. On May 4th, news anchor Carol Martin testified and corroborated Carol's account of their conversation following the alleged assault, thinking it occurred sometime between 1994 and 1996. And remembering Carol saying she had also told Birnbach. Martin said she and Carol did not scheme against Trump, though the former demonstrated hate for Trump in some of her text messages. So the fuck what? Clips of Trump's deposition were played. Both the plaintiff and defendant rested their case on May 4th. That day, Trump made a statement from Ireland indicating he might come to the trial. The judge allowed Trump to move to reopen the case, but Trump did not respond by the May 7th deadline. What a coward. I'm disgusted by any father that still supports this man, but what if this was your daughter? I mean, yeah. These were my exact feelings as a conservative voter in 2016. I was very disgusted, very upset. On May 8th, closing arguments were made. Carol's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, cited her client's attire during the alleged assault, a wool dress with tights, as indicating the weather at the time, which Carol had narrowed down to after Burnbach's collaboration with Trump on a February 1996 article, further thinking it happened on a Thursday because the store was open late. Additionally, it reputedly happened while Carol hosted a talk show on America's Talking, which Kaplan argued Trump likely saw in part because it was on immediately before an interview with him filmed in the same building for the same network. Kaplan argued that Carol was trying to come to grips with the fact that she was being attacked, which she remembered in great detail. Kaplan cited the moment in Trump's deposition when he mixed up Carol with his wife, evidently debunking his claim that she was not his type. Further, Kaplan asserted that Trump followed an established pattern of behavior of his when caught in wrongdoing by making an excuse that the photograph was reputedly blurry. Another of Carol's lawyers argued that Tacopina relied on rhetoric rather than evidence and cited Trump's failure to deny the charges in person, further ridiculing the idea that Carol, Burnbach, and Martin secretly conspired to take down Trump based on the plot of an episode of Law & Order SVU. Tacopina focused on the gaps in the plaintiff's case, particularly the unknown date of the incident, asserting that she tailored her testimony by saying she realized it was on a Thursday, and accused her of failing to bring the case to police because it would never make it through a police investigation in a million years. Tacopina repeated Trump's dismissal of the Access Hollywood tape as locker room talk and argued that it shows Trump bragging about women letting you do something rather than sexual assault. That is sexual assault. If you don't have prior consent, letting something go and saying it's okay to do something are two different things. Letting something go still means that sexual assault happened. He argued that Lee's story was false because the other airline passengers would not have sat by and let it happen. He also asserted that the plaintiff could have called Trump as a witness, but instead that what they want is for you to hate him enough to ignore the facts. Ew. I guess Who Farted just took off after they found out that their illegitimate legal claims were nothing. But it's ex post facto. I also like how Guess Who Farted acted like they weren't suggesting that I should be punished by my local bar association. The jury reached a decision on May 9th, 2003 after deliberating for less than 3 hours. Considering the preponderance of the evidence, the jury delivered a verdict that first stated that Carol had not proven that Trump raped her, and next stated that Carol did prove that Trump was responsible for a lesser degree of sexual abuse, and also stated that Trump defamed Carol with false statements made with actual malice in the October 22nd Truth Social post. Thus, the jury awarded Carol a total of $5 million in damages from Trump. The judge had given the jury the narrow technical meaning of the term rape under New York law as it existed at that time, defining rape as forcible penetration with the penis as alleged by Carol. Now, To more directly address something that Guess Who Farted. I don't know if I want to go so far as to say they implied it, but I think it's tangential to what Guess Who Farted this guy said. Trump raped E. Jean Carroll. It is a legal fact that he did that. It is not a legal fact that he was found liable for raping E. Jean Carroll. It is a legal fact that he raped her to such a degree that I can state that and it not be libel. Or slander. Slander, yeah. It not be slander. I could write it and it not be libel. This is true because what we know in society to be rape includes what Trump did, and that is even more true now than it was back when Trump was found liable for sexual assault. Now, more states, including the state in which he was found liable for sexual assault in, have changed the definition of rape to be closer to the colloquial usage of the term. So if I were to say Trump is a rapist under modern New York law, that would also be... I don't know how accurate that would be, technically, but I also don't think that that would be slander. Because it's not said with malice, it's said with an intent to be correct as to what the law means. And there's also, I don't know if people know this, there's a different standard for public figures than there is for your average person. You have to prove like actual malice for public figures. If I'm remembering my libel and slander law correctly. So I'm happy to hear that the internet, that this is out of, excuse me. Right. I'm happy to hear that the internet in general is not liking Stranger Things Season 5. I kind of feel that way. And as stupid as the setup for the scene between Jonathan Byers and Nancy Wheeler is, I thought that was a pretty fucking great scene. That is a very hard relationship moment / feeling to capture, and I think they did a very good job of capturing it. Now, I might have been in a different mental state at the time that I watched it, so maybe if I watched it again, I wouldn't find it as believable. I wouldn't find that the actor sold it as well, but when I watched it originally, that scene was, woo. I don't know if anybody in chat has been watching Stranger Things Season 5, but I'm still sitting with that one. That was rough. In an appearance on CNN the day of the verdict, Trump continued to disparage Carroll. He called her a whack job, said the trial was rigged, denied raping Carroll, and said I didn't do anything else either, and claimed I don't know who the hell she is. This led Carroll to consider a third defamation lawsuit against Trump concerning these comments. On May 11, 2023, Trump appealed the verdict. On June 8th, Trump's team requested the award to be reduced to under $1 million or that a new trial should be held regarding damages, citing the jury's supposed rejection of the rape claim. Carroll's lawyers said that Trump mischaracterized the verdict, that he sexually abused Carroll, as supporting his contention that he did not rape her. On June 23rd, Trump's lawyers proffered $5.55 million to a federal court in case the appeal failed. On June 27th, Trump filed a counterclaim alleging that Carroll had defamed him, particularly when she told CNN, yes, he did rape her, in response to a question about the jury not finding him liable for that offense. According to Carroll's lawyer, 4 other statements made in the counterclaim occurred outside New York's 1-year statute of limitations. On August 7th, Judge Kaplan dismissed the counterclaim and wrote that Carroll's accusation of rape is substantially true according to the common definition of the word, i.e., not necessarily implying penile penetration. A few days later, Trump appealed the dismissal. Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. Imagine filing this case and being like, I didn't rape her. They only found that I used my fingers to defile her. Gross. Not sure if you're familiar with Karen Reed v. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but she was found not guilty of second-degree red rum. I don't know why you put it that way, but all right. She has a wrongful death civil trial coming up. If found liable, could you technically still call her a murderer? Same Trump rapist logic in my mind. Epstein's postcard to Larry Nassar was essentially this fucking guy about Trump. Epstein's alleged postcard to Larry Nassar. I'm still not sold on that one. Little pound cakes, that would depend. Massachusetts. I'm curious about your question. I'm not going to go into the details of the case, but I am interested in Massachusetts murder statutes. I'm going to cover myself up real quick here. Murder committed with deliberately premeditated malice aforethought, or with extreme atrocity or cruelty, or in the commission or attempted commission of a crime punishable with death or imprisonment for life, is murder in the first degree. Murder which does not appear to be in the first degree is murder in the second degree. Okay. Petite treason shall be prosecuted and punished as murder. The degree of murder shall be found by the jury. Do you know, in short, why she was not found guilty or found not guilty of murder? Go for it. I'm interested in interesting legal things. Lasagna farted. That's nasty. I don't want to smell that. Go do that in another room. Ugh. Oh. I thought that I had to... I may have messed up the freaking permissions for the on-air room. I'm supposed to have it set that only I can bring you in, but that's cool. Okay, give me 1 second. At least somebody who revealed this to me is somebody I would not mind just jumping up in the on-air. What's going on, little pound cakes? What's up, Know Nothing Paralegal?
Sorry. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm a bit tired today. I've been running myself ragged with these streams the past couple nights. The debate the other night went until like 5 a.m.
I get it. Yeah, you've been going on kind of like late.
Yeah, that's, the deal with trying to be an attorney and being a dad and being a streamer. It's like, when do I do that last one?
You should take a weekend off.
Never. I did take one day off
Actually,
a
I'm
couple of
gonna
weekends ago because I
mute
was
you on Twitch.
oh, okay.
There we go. Okay, because there was a delay on Twitch and not on Discord. So there we go. Now I got you in real time.
All right. You and Maddie cannot make me take breaks. I took one break when I really, really needed a mental health day because shit was fucked. So I took that one break. Before that, I had only taken one day off in maybe early November, and I didn't actually take a break. I just said I didn't want to be publicly streaming, so I just recorded myself working on my video. So that VOD is out there. I haven't published it to YouTube yet, but it exists. So I've only officially taken one day off so far.
You're doing good. You're gonna be a new Hassan Abi.
Well, thankfully, I will never be a Hassan Abi, even if I reach his level of success.
That's my boyfriend.
Oh, ugh, ugh. Mm.
He doesn't shock his dog.
I didn't say anything about shocking his dog.
I know, but the internet does.
Yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't either, but I also just always kind of found him to be a tool. But hey, you love who you love. Love is love.
He brings up good points. If I had to pick my nephew watching somebody, I'd rather him watch him than like Aiden Ross. You know what
Okay,
I
but I
mean?
mean, I don't love somebody for their points.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Karen Reed.
Except Emma
So
Bigland, because she's,
oh
she's
God,
just perfect.
yeah, she's love of my life. Sam Cedar's so cool too.
Yeah, what a fucking nightmare. Am I right?
I know.
Sam Cedar, oh my god, what a fucking nightmare.
Pause it. Pause it.
It's so funny that quote, when he said it, he was trying to play it off, but just the way he said it, it was like, yeah, I know. I can tell that you actually feel that way.
Because he's right. I mean, he brings up good points, like good, like thought out points. I mean, he's not right about everything, but I appreciate listening to him. I feel like he's somebody that we can trust with a grain of salt.
For sure. Um, so you were wanting to talk about this case, Karen Reed v. Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Do you just like reading cases?
I work a really boring like accounts receivable job, so
Hey,
I
that's where
watch
I
like
started
trials.
too.
Yeah, I watch trials for fun.
Nice, nice. I love that. That's not what I was doing back when I was in accounts receivable, but yeah, you do you. I
I
started off
mean,
working for Omni Hotels in accounts receivable.
okay, cool, nice. That's
Yeah.
actually what my controller he was in hospitality before he moved over here. So
And I can tell you exactly where the annual Ball and Joint Doll Convention is held,
oh,
which is something I would never recommend attending unless you know that ball and joint dolls is what you're into.
I
That
don't
was
think I do.
terrifying. Do you know what ball and joint dolls are?
I don't. That sounds a little freaky, and I don't know if I'm that freaky.
Yeah, they are meant to be like life size dolls, and people will bring them to this convention like they're special somebody and wheel them around in wheelchairs. Uh,
Oh,
Boy,
that's
that was a
amazing.
special day.
I feel like that like 10 years ago that would have been a like a TLC documentary.
What was that? That was 2014, 2013. I would have been doing that. That was a day that I had to come down from the back office of the hotel to be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh yeah, that's weird. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm good.
I didn't need to know that these men existed out there.
Especially like wheeling around like these dolls, man. Like imagine what their house looks like. That's what I want in my
Talking
house.
to them, making their day out. in the world
What's their
special.
relationship with their mom like?
Gonna meet some other girls out today, make some new friends at the convention.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my god. Can you imagine, like, I bet some of these men like arrange play dates.
Oh yeah, like with their dolls, like probably like little doggy park like style.
Yeah, it's like my girl just doesn't have enough friends that get to come visit her. Like, I'm glad that we got to meet today. Like, you want to meet up next weekend and get our girls together?
They have like little French tea parties and stuff.
Oh my god. I don't want to I don't want to think about this anymore. I've gone a good long while without thinking about ball and joint dolls, and I don't need to think about it again for some time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad we could talk about accounts receivable.
You know what? Hey, it was my first job out of the Coast Guard, and I'm just happy to have a job. That's all I can say. In this economy,
My
I'm
first
just
job out of
happy to
college.
have a
Yep.
job.
Yeah. Amen. Secularly, amen to that.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to say, thankfully, they paid their accounts promptly, so I never had to call them.
Mine's a like a nurse staffing agency, so I have to like reach out to hospitals for money, and especially with the Medicare cuts, that's been fun because a lot of these hospitals aren't wanting to pay; they're wanting to go into bankruptcy. Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. I got ADHD'd out there for a second. Can you repeat that?
So the type that I do, it's for like a nurse staffing agency. So we just go after like the hospitals for money, but a
Okay.
lot of these hospitals aren't wanting to pay due to like all these Medicare cuts and stuff, right?
Hey, part of my job is kind of like the opposite of that. Is when the hospitals have physicians that don't want to pay them, and then I have to get involved.
That's cool. So like what's your law genre right
Yeah,
now?
I'm popping this up here so people know what's going on. Um, what is my law job? My law job is like very special interest Medicaid side of the world, trying
Oh,
to
okay.
better design state Medicaid programs to get hospitals more Medicaid funds, or find other methods to help the hospitals find ways to get Medicaid funds to them.
Good luck.
Thanks. Me and a team of three other people may have just helped uh, one state. I think I can say what state because it doesn't say who the client is. We may have helped Virginia save $1.3 billion that they were going to throw out for no reason.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, because they thought that what the Trump administration wanted them to do meant that they had to just cut those dollars, and we were like, you don't have to do this. Please stop. So
Yeah.
got to work
Okay.
with the
Nice.
hospital association, got to work with the state Medicaid agency, got to know a lot of people. It was good times had by all, and Virginia is a messy Medicaid state.
Oh, my sister lives in Virginia, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know how well of a job it'll do at saving their rural hospitals, because rural hospitals all over the country are in danger because of the Trump administration.
Yes.
Yep.
We staff a lot of rural New York hospitals, and almost all of them are 200 days behind on their payments.
That sucks.
About to file for bankruptcy. Yeah, that's
That
at least it's a big chunk that they're behind.
that really really sucks. And like, I hate that we have to be on the front lines watching that happen, and a lot of Trump voters are completely clueless about it.
Yeah, it's sad, like some of these people they have to drive 2 miles just to get to the a specialist. Not 2 miles,
Right?
2 hours to get to a specialist. It's crazy.
Maddie, how did Kansas get double fucked? I haven't gotten to do any work in Kansas. All right, little pound cakes. You wanted to talk about this specific case.
Oh,
What's going on with
yeah.
this?
So I've been following this for like 2 years because this lady had two trials, right? One ended with a mistrial, and then she was retried um, for murder, and there was literally no scientific evidence. I'm going to give you the TLDR version because I could write a whole thesis on this case. I swear to God.
Right, and then I'll
Um,
make my conclusions based on just assuming what you said is correct.
yeah. So
Come here.
there they took her. She had like a new Lexus, right? So the
Come
state
on.
was trying to say that she ran over her boyfriend in the snowy night with her Lexus SUV. But when you looked at his autopsy, he had a big concussion and a cracked skull on the back of his head and what appeared to be claw marks from a dog on his arm.
It wasn't
And
lasagna.
he had no. Oh, hi, baby. Yes,
She didn't do it.
she didn't do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was a German Shepherd that did this. It was a German
Oh,
Shepherd named Chloe, and I'm like, God damn it, that's my name.
okay.
And so yeah. So there was no physical or like blunt injuries to his torso, which if she's driving a Lexus SUV, you would expect there to be bruising injuries to the torso, to the legs, and there were none. It was just that blunt injury to the back of the skull and scratch bite marks on his arms, right? And a
Wow.
black eye. So it
Okay.
appeared that he had gotten beaten up inside the house. People inside the house also worked for the Boston Police Department, Canton Police Department. So they were cops. They worked with the boyfriend that Karen allegedly killed. And it's pretty much a whole state cover up, is what the conspiracy is. And she went through two trials, was found not guilty of manslaughter. They got her on a DUI technically, but when they took her blood at the hospital, they're going to appeal on that case, on that part, because when they took her blood at the hospital, they were like, oh, this isn't for um like criminal legal purposes, because they had like 5150'd her pretty much because she was making like suicidal comments because like her boyfriend had just died, right?
Hmm.
So they had put her on like the 72-hour hold. They had did a blood draw, and they tried to base her alcohol content off of that blood draw in a criminal trial, but I guess they couldn't. Anyway, she was
Oh
found
my
not
God. Hold
guilty.
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Billy Blee, who is a Chinese, if I believe, a Chinese immigrant to Canada, said it is said that medical institutions are commercialized. Is this true?
Oh,
Billy Blee,
absolutely.
welcome to American healthcare. It is a capitalism hellscape.
A Tylenol is $400, big dog.
Oh boy. Okay, sorry. Continue. You said Chloe. I didn't ask your actual name when you came up. You said
Oh yeah, yeah,
Chloe's.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
clear.
Go ahead, Chloe. My name
Um,
is Austin. If you didn't catch me, like introduce my real name at any point.
Hi, Austin.
Hi, Austin from Austin. That's me.
Austin from Austin. I actually have a friend coming in from Houston this weekend.
Are they named Houston?
No, her name's Emily.
That's weird. Like my best friend has a friend from Houston named Emily. What's going on?
She's old Coast Guard friend going
How
back
many
through his
Emilys are there in
film.
Houston?
I think a lot. It was a pretty common name in the 90s.
Yeah. Millennials.
Uh,
Woo!
I know. Yeah, we're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the border because I'm 96, right? So it's like I remember 9/11,
Well, that
but
makes you a millennial.
you know,
We millennials catch too much flack. We grew up with like the beginning of Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. We're just very chill people.
hey, I remember when Dale Earnhardt died. That's all that matters.
I remember when the internet was boring. There was nothing to do on the internet. Okay.
With,
Yeah.
yeah, with
Continue with the
YouTube
story.
story. Yeah. Anyway, so now we're at the point that she's won that. I haven't even gone into like all the police corruption that went into this. I mean, this would make your jaw drop if you saw some of this shit. I mean, it was horrendous how they framed this woman for this murder. Um, but now she's going into the civil process, and I
Is
mean,
that the
I
aspect you think
personally,
that will like put it like make it be studied in law school?
no. Just the two criminal trials that she went through. Just the amount of police misconduct that happened. You had
Interesting.
a Massachusetts state trooper that within 24 hours, and he had connections with the family uh, of the house that the John O'Keefe, the officer that died, that he died in, right? So the Massachusetts state trooper was friends with the family of the homeowners, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and he, in text messages with his supervisor, was like, "Oh, we're gonna pin it on the girl." Called her a whack job cunt. Said that she had a leaky balloon knot. Talking about her GI issues that she had, and was in a group chat with his supervisor and other officers, Massachusetts State Police officers, trying to look for nudes on this woman's phone.
What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like that's what I mean. Like the evidence that was mishandled. There was tampering. They believe there's evidence to suggest that trooper Michael Proctor, the one that I'm talking about that was like trying to look for nudes and shit, that he had like smashed open like her tail light to try and make it, because that was like the state's main theory, that was uh she had cracked the tail light on her Lexus SUV with this man's arm. And I don't know what, like, how much like about cars, but like the plastic on those tail lights are like pretty fucking thick.
Yeah.
And a forearm on a 6'2", I forget, he was over 6 foot, but like 200-pound man, that's not gonna shatter that tail light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know a lot about cars, but I think I can make that conclusion myself. Yeah.
I don't think your forearm would break the tail light on your car.
I don't know. I've got a pretty good forearm.
But still, I mean, yeah. So that's kind of the very rundown PG version of it.
I would hate to hear the rest. I do want to say,
Yeah,
as
no,
far as police misconduct goes, that may be studied in some parts of law school, but I doubt it'd be caught in a basic criminal law course.
yeah. Um, it's very egregious how bad this is. I mean, he got fired and dismissed from the police force. Like, he's having his own civil trials because of this. There's other cases in Massachusetts that are being relitigated because of the outcome and what got brought up in this case. That's what's really interesting too.
So, what about this wrongful death lawsuit? Do we
So
know anything about the legal theory there?
yeah, so basically the family of John O'Keefe, the officer that died, his family still believes, even with all the evidence presented in front of them, that Karen Reed murdered their son. And so they're trying to file a wrongful death, still stating that she was drunk and hit their son with her car.
Hmm.
So, I mean, just when you were, this was like, what, like 20, 30 minutes ago, but you were talking about like,
Right. This is
could
the part I'm thinking about.
Trump still be called a rapist? So that's what kind of, sorry, that's what like triggered it in my mind. I was like, oh, well, I'm like, it's kind of the same logic. I'm like, well, if she was found
It
not
is and
guilty.
it isn't. Um, so the thing is, like, Trump is a rapist by at least by the facts that have been determined to be true by a fact finder in court. Um, he is a rapist by what we mean by the word rapist. Now, the difficulty when it comes to murder is some people in society use murder right, and some people in society don't use murder right. Um, so if we're to say he's a murderer in the way we mean it, well, do we mean that he or she killed a person unlawfully with malice aforethought?
I mean,
Or
yeah, okay. So, a
that would be
drunk
first
driver
degree
killed
murder.
my nephew, right? Like that's manslaughter.
What, first degree?
No, no, no. I was using like the drunk driver thing. Like a parent would still call a drunk driver like a murderer, right?
Right. So like
Right.
a
Even though it's manslaughter.
second degree murder in some cases is equivalent to manslaughter and in some cases is not, and it gets very complicated when you start looking at different states. And so here in Massachusetts, second degree murder would be a unjustified killing in any way that is not that I think still has to be intentional or knowing, but without malice of forethought. So oftentimes, like the biggest example we see of a non-manslaughter uh, murder that is still a second degree murder and is not a malice of forethought murder would be what is a depraved heart murder. And the biggest example of that, I don't know if you're familiar with this yet, with your paralegal and trial obsession knowledge. Do you know what
Dude,
a
I'm a baby.
do you know what a depraved heart murder is?
Uh, that would be like spousal abuse, right?
Spousal abuse could be
Like
an
bad,
example.
like battered wife, pretty much. Like, or am I getting
Well,
that wrong?
it would entirely depend on whether it was malice aforethought or not, because that could go either way. The most
Right.
common depraved heart murder is the murder when you walk in on your spouse cheating. So that is
Oh,
an
okay, okay, okay.
intentional killing, but it is not malice aforethought. It is a loss of
It's like a
oneself.
spring to the moment type deal.
Yeah. And was it another phrase that would aggravated? Man, there are all sorts of different phrasings for this, but um, so that's normally what we would look for when we look for like a second degree murder, but it would still be an intentional one. So if we go for a wrongful death suit, it's hard to imagine that you would win that suit on intent or knowledge if if that didn't go like if the state didn't win a criminal trial on that, it's hard to imagine that they would win it on that theory. Maybe on recklessness. Usually I would think that a wrongful death suit would be on. Do you know? I've glossed over this. Do you know what mens rea is?
Yeah, like the mental state, like
Right,
the
right, right.
mental reasoning behind the crime. Yeah.
So for anybody in chat, anybody who's listening to the VOD or anything like that, if you want to just get some basic legal learning here, every crime, well, I guess not every crime. There are, God, what's the term for crimes where you're just uh, culpable if you do the thing? I can't remember that term.
Not like the thing that speaks for itself, right?
Uh, Gosh, now that I've mentioned it, I can't just like let it go without like having the term on the like that I can teach somebody. What's the term for a crime without a mens rea? Strict liability. There we go. In media res? No. No. Yeah, it's strict liability. You don't have to have a
Strict
specific
liability just comes in like that's with torts though, right? Not like criminal.
no, strict liability crimes. So like trespassing on government land is often a strict liability crime. They don't care why you're there. You were there, so we have to punish it because we can't have exceptions to this. Um,
Okay.
yeah, or statutory rape. This is another one with strict liability. Um, you don't have to prove any kind of mental state. You don't have to prove any kind of knowledge. But in most cases, a crime is going to have an actus reus and a mens rea. The actus reus is the criminal act, and the mens rea is the criminal mental state. And you can be charged with different crimes depending on what your mental state is. The four common mental states are intent, knowledge, recklessness, and negligence. Intent is, I am shooting this person because I want him to die. Knowledge is, I am shooting this person, and maybe I don't want him to die, but I know that there's a really good chance that he's going to die. Recklessness would be shooting shooting into a crowded street through a door knowing that the street is usually crowded. I don't know that there's anyone there. I don't know that anyone could be hit by this bullet, but shooting through this door, I should be aware that there is a good chance that I am going to cause bodily harm or death. That is a bad thing for me to do anyway, whether I know it or not. And then negligence would just be if you have a duty to do something and then you don't do that, and then something bad happens, you have been negligent. For there to be negligence, there first has to be a duty. So if we're talking about a case that involves wrongful death, but it wasn't murder under the eyes of the state because the state didn't win a case bringing this person for murder, then we're probably talking about recklessness. And it's hard to say that if somebody called this person a murderer, if they were found liable for a wrongful death lawsuit on a recklessness theory, whether that would be slander or libel or not. That would probably have to get into the nitty-gritty of what did this person know, what was reasonable for them to say in the context in which they said it. Were they, because I think the usual test for non-public figures is, was the person oh my gosh, did they act with willful indifference to the risk of the damage of non-truth? Elaney says, do we really need to talk? What does that mean?
I mean, no, we don't, because like my partner's yelling at me like, "Come to bed, come to bed." But, like,
Okay, well then I can let you go. The short answer is it's hard to say, but it's different than Trump.
I mean, just literally what you were just talking about. I was about to bring up. I sat through an appellate session, California State appellate session, about that. Orange County. I forget what position he was running for. I can't tell you all the details because a lot of it went over my head at the time. But he was basically a county official running for something, and somebody else said some crap about his wife, and yeah, they went to court over it, and we had like a little field trip one day to the appellate court and got to listen to all that. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
30 years old, still taking a field trip.
You said 30 years old, still taking field trips?
Hell yeah.
All right. I mean, I wish I got to take more field trips.
I had to sit on the short bus and everything, dude. It was cool.
All right. Well, you go stop pissing your partner off. I hope that this was at least interesting. I hope that I answered your question. In short, it's not a for certain thing whether or not it would be libel or slander to say that person was a murderer, but it's definitely different from Trump because there's no question that he fits like the colloquial definition of what a rapist is.
Right, for sure. I mean, I was just like, if they could bring that up for slander at that point with, I mean, if a news organization, be like, oh, he's a rapist, blah, blah, blah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
of
have
course,
no
he's going to
doubt.
sue everybody he can for $8 billion, but.
Who was it? Was it CBS?
Was it CBS or was it NBC?
NBC. I think it was NBC. They would have won that case. Like, no doubt.
Yeah. They shouldn't have settled.
They should not have settled at all. Yeah, that is the correct reading of that. But, they also wanted to capitulate. So, but again, like,
Anyway.
to summarize, it would be hard to determine what the outcome of that case would be without like getting more like feedback from the court itself about what was going on with that. Because to say she was a murderer, if the state didn't find that, and the best we've got is a recklessness thing, that's not murder. But do we mean when we say that she just killed this person and it was not a justified killing? But that doesn't necessarily make it murder. It's a homicide.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a homicide she didn't commit, but she factually did not commit. But
well,
that's just.
But we're assuming that they win the civil suit, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Okay.
Well, sorry I pissed off the rest of chat. Y'all have a good night.
I don't care what the rest of chat thinks. No, absolutely. I appreciate having you here. I'm glad that you got to make it. All right. Peace out. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Eleni, why are you being rude? What's going on? Little Pound Cakes is awesome. Maddie is also awesome. I don't know. I think Maddie's saying that the case that we're talking about with calling this person a murderer is not even close to the idea of calling Trump a rapist, because there's no question whether he meets the colloquial definition of what a rapist is. And in general, the legal definition at this point. My stream title. Oh, yeah, we really need to talk, because, that this is... Oh, yeah. No, that was not even close, that for sure. It's not that you're too good at sarcasm. It's like, for the third time tonight, I have to explain that, like, I just take things literally. I take people at their word for what they're saying. Not necessarily about things being factually true, but like what it is that their viewpoint is, like, which is silly because I get in so much trouble for assuming that people will know that I would not say a rude thing. So when I think when I imagine what a rude person would say and I think that's funny, and then I share it with the person as if I'm saying the thing, like, could you imagine a person actually saying this in this scenario? People will look at me like, why are you saying a rude thing? And I'm like, no, but it's funny because that's not what I would say. Like, I do the thing that I can't interpret correctly, which I guess just goes further to show that I don't know how to read the social situation. I'm bad at it. Being neurodivergent sucks. Why don't the rest of you guys just get my brain, okay? Yeah, ADHD is a whole thing. Let's get the ADHD, anxiety, complex PTSD trifecta. Add in some clinical depression. Whoop whoop. It's a party up here. I was sitting there like thinking I was at the dog park earlier, and I was sitting like, I really don't like the quiet because I think I think my thoughts never settle. I don't know if other people's thoughts settle, but not only do mine not settle, like my thoughts and my feelings, and like I never get to file them away somewhere, but I'm also left with the feeling that they're not settled, which I definitely don't think that most people sit there with that feeling. They may not have settled thoughts, but they don't get bothered by the idea of having unsettled thoughts. So I'm just like, it's the fucking flying key room from like, I don't know why this is my thought, but like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, like it's all the fucking keys with wings in my head. So I prefer to have like I can listen to a debate or something, like some kind of long form content, so that like there's some kind of ordered noise in my head instead of like all the fucking jingling winged keys. I have never used winged keys to explain this ever before. Usually it's trying to pull a specific item out of a washing machine that's running and just like, nope, nope, nope. Or the more common one is I explain that like being in my head is like being in a room with 100 different TVs all playing on loud volume and they're all playing different stuff. You have no inner voice. I have too many inner voices. And they're all my voice. They're all me thinking about stuff. But it's too many different things at the same time. Welcome to Window into Know Nothing's Head, because he will share literally anything. Oh, I mean, the screaming voice, I mean, we all, like, we kind of set that aside. We all have the assumption that the screaming voice is there. Maddie, absolutely, I want to hear something. Your cat is like 8 pounds. That's the crazy thing. Oh my God, Maddie, that's so crazy. Eleni, that is concerning. I hope you have someone that you talk to about your voices so that you were able to tell them about the screaming voice that one time. So far, Maddie, all I have about this crazy story is that your cat is 8 pounds. So I assume the crazy thing is that today your cat is 8 pounds, and that is not the thing that they normally are. She got the zoomies so bad, she slammed into a 60-year wood and velvet chair. You just got 60-year-old wood and velvet chairs sitting around? Damn. Knocked it backwards and straight up split the chair in half. Wow. That that is a crazy thing that your cat today split a 60-year-old wood and velvet chair in half. This is why I have a dog, because dogs never break or ruin anything. I have a straight face right now. I'm sorry that happened, Maddie. It sounds like it was something that was upsetting. I'm very sorry about that. They do not, Elaney. That's not true. Whoever told you that is a liar. My dog did not pee on the carpet multiple times while she had a bladder infection. She did not chew on the edge of the house so that now I'm going to have to pay to repair that piece of wood. I mean, just from the description of a 60-year-old wood and velvet chair, it sounds like it must have been a pretty chair. I imagine there are some ugly ones of that, but that's not what I imagine when I think of one. Okay, we're almost done with E. Jean Carroll, so I'm going to jump right back to that. Aw, Elaney, that's cute. Is it one of those birds where there's the video of the bird bringing back a whole flock of birds to show you appreciation? Aw, Maddie, I'm sorry. Now it sounds like it was a cute chair. Now it's a broken heart. Could you make art of the broken heart? On July 19th, Judge Kaplan denied Trump's bid for a new trial as there was no seriously erroneous result nor a miscarriage of justice. Analyzing Trump's arguments, Kaplan found that Trump misinterprets the jury's verdict, as in actuality the proof convincingly established, and the jury implicitly found that Mr. Trump deliberately and forcibly penetrated Miss Carroll's vagina with his fingers, causing immediate pain and long-lasting emotional and psychological harm. Kaplan affirmed that Trump had raped Carroll according to the common meaning of the word and ruled against altering the award amount. On May 14th, 2024, Carroll's lawyers requested an expedited appeal, arguing that its completion by July 2024 would lessen the chance of Trump seeking delays related to other trials or his potential presidency. The Federal Appeals Court held a hearing on Trump's appeal on September 6, 2024 in Lower Manhattan. During the 25-minute hearing, Trump's lawyers argued that the evidence was improperly shown to the jury. They specifically cited the testimony of Trump accuser Jessica Leeds and the Access Hollywood tape. They also argued that they were unreasonably restricted from asking questions about billionaire Reid Hoffman. Jesus Christ, guys, shut the fuck up. Making arguments about George Conway's conversations with Carroll ahead of her lawsuit, and from questioning Carroll about statements she made about Trump's DNA and her dress. On December 30th, 2024, the Federal Appeals Court upheld the $5 million verdict, saying that Trump had failed to show that the district court had erred. As a fledgling I'm a bird person. I actually had a parrot as a child that would sit on my head and bite people who came near me. That same bird called our landlord an asshole to his face. Love that. The wood is like super splintered, man. I had some parakeets during my marriage. I had a very sweet boy named Kalachi. He was super social until we introduced the birds to the females to the cage, and then he stopped being as friendly. But he used to sit on my shoulder all the time, and he would nibble on ears and nibble on headphone cords, and he was cool. He passed away. I miss my boy. I miss my Kalachi. Yeah, Kalachi. We had a system of naming our pets after baked goods. We had Kalachi and pierogi, samosa, Biscuit. Biscuit was our first parakeet, and Biscuit was so sweet that like we could take her outside and like tie a little line to her foot, and she would just like sit with us outside even without her. Oh, I guess her wings were clipped. No, because I call things with a meat stuffed into them kolaches, and that's not what a kolache is. That's a klobasnik. But Texans love kolaches. I don't know what you're talking about. Texans love klobasniks, but call them kolaches. You can go to West Texas, not West Texas, West Texas. It's just north of Waco. And West is known for its Czech heritage and for its kolaches. There are so many kolaches in town, and you can just go have a field day of like sampling kolaches from every place in West, and that'd be a fucking day. I think people forget that when people say parrot have the brain of a 6-year-old, that's insane. I don't think people realize how diabolically smart 6-year-olds are. Oh, but I was talking about Biscuit. Biscuit. Yeah, I don't know if I want to tell that story. We lost Biscuit too. It was sad. I miss Biscuit and I miss Kalachi. Miss my kiddos. We have a local kolache place, and it's not good. I'm a sucker for stupid kolaches. There's a place nearby called Kolache Factory, and they have like sausage and gravy kolache, chicken enchilada kolache, Philly cheesesteak kolache, sausage and sauerkraut kolache, Migas kolache. Just insane shit. On January 14th, 2025, Trump asked the appeals court for an en banc hearing, which would be held before a full court rather than just a select panel. Thank you, that is what an en banc hearing is. And the court rejected that request on June 13th. After requesting an extended deadline to appeal on November 10th, 2025, Trump's team asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the verdict. Are you fucking kidding? Wait, it's still going? I didn't know this was still going. That was last fucking month. Jesus Christ. We could see some real idiocy come out of this. I really hope we don't, but we already need to replace this Supreme Court. On May 9th, 2023, Judge Kaplan explained to jurors a verdict form discussing 3 types of battery for which Trump could be liable to pay damages under New York law: rape, sexual abuse, and forcible touching. Seeking $10 million damages, Carroll amended her original defamation suit on May 22nd, 2023 to include additional comments. Court filings on May 26th and June 5th, Trump's lawyers sought to prevent Carroll from amending her case, including her replacement of the word rape with sexual assault, on the basis that the May verdict rejected Carroll's claim that Trump raped her. In fact, the jury only found that the rape accusation was unproven as compared to sexual abuse. On June 13th, Judge Kaplan ruled that Carroll could amend her lawsuit. 2 days later, Kaplan ruled that the trial would begin on January 15th, 2024, unless the case had been entirely disposed of by that date. On June 1st, Kaplan denied a Trump ally's request to dismiss the case on the basis that Trump was being persecuted for being a white Christian. What? What? Excuse me? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I, 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 did an attorney put this forward? I feel like that attorney should lose their license. Targeting universities with DEI now? I mean, yeah. But like a single, like what they're claiming is happening is affirmative action, which is not what's happening. But like here, we're talking about a person being sued for a rape or a sexual assault. And it's like, it's because he's a white Christian? What? Trump's team asked for the case to be dismissed partially based on free speech protections and purported presidential immunity. Oh my God. Oh my God. Will y'all, like, I want these people to lose their law licenses. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to even say these things. On June 29th, Kaplan denied this request, arguing that novel defenses like absolute immunity had been introduced too late. Trump's team appealed this decision and requested for the trial to be delayed during the appeal effort. On August 18th, Kaplan denied the delay. On September 12th, Alina Habba argued to a 3-judge panel of the Second Circuit that the district court proceedings should be stayed until the appeals court resolves whether a president may raise his immunity defense. The next day, the appeals court denied the stay request, but granted an expedited appeal process, which would also cover the matter of Trump's dismissed counterclaim. During an October 23rd hearing, Circuit Judge Denny Chin defended Kaplan's opinion that Trump's immunity defense had been introduced too late. On December 13th, the Second Circuit ruled that Trump could not use presidential immunity as a defense because he had raised it too late. On January 8th, the Second Circuit declined to take up Trump's appeal again. Yeah. Gearing up to kill gay marriage because of Christians. Fascism, am I right? Fascists are embarrassing people. Dangerous people, but embarrassing people. You know what's really funny to me about the defense to the fascism claim that like it's not a fascist state, so it's not fascism. Like, I'm sorry. When I say a person is a fascist, do you think I mean that they are a state? What do you think it means for a person to be a fascist? That's very confusing. On July 11th, 2023, the DOJ dropped its prior position that Trump had been acting in the scope of his office when making his initial responses to Carroll's allegations. Yeah, no shit. On September 6, 2023, Kaplan issued a partial summary judgment in favor of Carroll, ruling that Trump was liable for defaming Carroll via statements he had made in 2019. Kaplan ruled that the jury's verdict in Carroll 2 plainly established that Mr. Trump's 2019 statements were false, with the substantive content of Trump's defamatory 2022 statement being identical to the substantive content of Trump's 2019 statements. In both statements, Trump accused Carroll of concocting a sexual assault allegation for improper purposes. Since the jury considered and decided issues that are common to both cases and concluded that the sexual assault occurred, this indicated that Carroll did not lie about it. As a result, the 2024 trial was expected to primarily focus on determining the amount of additional damages. We are so close to being done with E. Jean Carroll, guys. On November 3rd, Kaplan announced that the jury would again be anonymous, citing Trump's statements about the court and case. On November 13th, Trump's team moved to add a new rebuttal expert after the court twice rejected proposed expert witness Robert Fisher, who argued Carroll benefited from this public dispute. On November 29th, Trump posted on Truth Social that the Adult Survivors Act was unconstitutional, further disparaging Carroll and calling the case election interference. Two anonymous juries. Because Trump is so untrustworthy. On December 21st, less than a month before the trial start date, Trump's team requested a 90-day delay to allow further appeal planning. Oh, we don't have music going. Silly me. I need to add more music to this playlist. On December 21st, less than a month before the trial start date, Trump's team requested a 90-day delay to allow further appeal planning, possibly including a strategy of asking for the case to be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court, citing special counsel Jack Smith's recent description of the question of immunity as being weighty and consequential in the federal criminal case against Trump for alleged election obstruction. On December 28th, a three-judge panel of the Second Circuit denied the delay request. God, it's endless with this guy. People act like he really knows what the fuck he's doing, like, in legal matters, and really it's just find every opportunity possible to delay, whether it's a good argument or not. Make bad arguments for delay, and you will succeed in delaying. And then you will just choke a person into settlement. And then with settlement, you can deny any wrongdoing. Also on December 21st, Carroll's lawyer asked, this is why I may not be a good litigator. Because I'm too honest. I have no interest in, like, bad faith tactics. I have no interest in that. So, like, I don't know. Also on December 21st, Carroll's lawyer asked Judge Kaplan to indicate quotes from the New York civil investigation of the Trump organization he intended to cite in the trial. The judge responded that Trump's testimony related to his wealth would be relevant to the jury's calculation of punitive damages he must pay Carroll. Trump's lawyers requested on December 28th that the transcript of his October 2022 deposition be omitted as evidence from the 2024 trial because he might provide new testimony. On January 4th, 2024, Judge Kaplan denied the request as frivolous. And really, you need to start issuing, like, what's the word I'm looking for? God, I can't remember the word. Like, penalties to the lawyers. Yeah, I should probably go to bed soon since I've been wearing myself thin. I want to get through E. Jean Carroll. And then we can focus on stories that people have heard less about. Like, too few people have heard about, like, Ivana Trump's rape claim. Trump's lawyers requested on December 28th that the oh, yep, already read that. That morning, Trump posted 31 links on Truth Social to negative stories and online posts about Carroll, as well as video clips stripped of context to make her statements about sexual assault seem fetishistic. Neat. That's facetious. On January 6th, Trump mocked Carroll at a political rally for not screaming during the made-up attack. That night, the judge ruled that Trump's lawyers could not argue before the jury that Trump did not rape Carroll. On January 9th, Kaplan further ruled that the defense could not argue that Carroll's choice of lawyer, who was paying her legal fees, her romantic/sexual proclivities, or that Trump did not sexually abuse her or act with actual malice when making disparaging comments about her. Discussion of DNA evidence by either party was also barred. Here, this is worth noting. Discussion of DNA evidence by either party was also barred. The judge affirmed that, contrary to implications by the defense, the trial would not be a do-over of past proceedings and was to focus on additional damages owed to Carroll. Additionally, on January 14th, Kaplan ruled that Trump could not present Anderson Cooper's interview with Carroll or suggest she hoped to boost book sales. On January 12, 2024, Carroll's lawyer asked Judge Kaplan to ensure that if Trump testified, Trump first be required to tell the jury that he would keep his comments to the matter at hand and not make barred arguments, saying his recent statements and behavior strongly suggest he will seek to sow chaos. Carroll's lawyer also asked that Trump be required to admit he sexually abused Carroll and disparaged her with actual malice. Also on January 12th, the judge denied a request from Trump to delay the trial by a week so he could attend the funeral of his mother-in-law, prompting an incendiary Truth Social post. So dishonest. That implies that Trump cares about people. Never once. On January 13th, Carroll's lawyer argued that Trump's counsel misrepresented the reason for his unavailability on January 17th, as a campaign event was scheduled for that day. On January 14th, the judge granted a continuance allowing Trump to testify on January 22nd, even if all matters in the trial had concluded. After his being frequently mentioned by the defense in the first trial, on January 13th, lawyer George Conway said he would be admitted into evidence in the case. On January 15th, Tacopina withdrew from Trump's counsel. Fun. A few days later, Tacopina told MSNBC, "It was just my time." Somebody was tired of making a fool of themselves in court. At this point, I'm just not interested in Carroll v. Trump 1. Like, Kaplan has made it very clear that it is decided. First attacked online before Trump denied her allegations. Haba insinuated that Carroll wanted Trump to pay her for the mean tweets. On January 17th, Carroll testified and was cross-examined. Her counsel complained that during testimony, Trump could be heard saying things like witch hunt and con job. He also reportedly pounded the table. Jesus Christ, dude. The judge warned Trump that he could force him to leave. Trump replied that he would love it. Trump posted on Truth Social that he felt obligated to attend every moment of the trial, in addition to attacks on the judge and asserting that he was the one who was owed damages. Judge Kaplan corrected Haba on trial procedure multiple times, including the process of entering evidence. I forgot about that. That was funny. Let's see if I can find that. One such apparent blunder occurred on Thursday when she was hit by an objection after attempting to question Carol about her income from her Substack blog. Miss Haba, this is evidence 101, Kaplan told Haba. Carol's attorneys then had the next 10 objections sustained as Haba tried to ask questions. Did you not hear me? Kaplan asked Haba when she talked over one sustained objection. Newsweek has contacted Haba by email to comment on this story. Haba appeared to make a mistake on Wednesday when referring to documents that had not been put into evidence. Kaplan ordered a recess in proceedings so that she might refresh her memory on how to. No, we are not going to read out loud a document not yet in evidence, he said. We're going to take a break here, and you're going to refresh your memory about how to get a document into evidence. She also had a tense exchange with Kaplan when she asked for an adjournment of the trial so that Trump could attend his mother-in-law's funeral. Kaplan had previously denied that request. Writing in her Substack newsletter January 17th, Joyce Vance, a former U.S. attorney in Alabama, said Haba opened Trump up to heavy damages with her courtroom arguments. A more skillful lawyer than Alina Haba might have avoided reminding the jury any more than absolutely necessary that her client sexually assaulted the plaintiff, she wrote. But by putting Carol on trial and suggesting she is the one at fault here, money-hungry, attention-hungry, she's given this jury a path forward to impose heavy damages on her client. How much is enough to keep Trump from doing it again? $5 million wasn't enough to keep him from defaming Carol immediately after the first judgment. The prospect of this trial only emboldened him. This jury will be charged with protecting Carol, and with both Trump and his lawyer unrepentant, that could turn out to be a very high number. God, so dumb. Dumb. Dumb world we live in. Trump did not attend trial on January 18th as he attended his mother-in-law's funeral. A Northwestern University professor serving as an expert witness for Carol argued that $12.1 million could be fairly spent on paying conservative pundits to repair Carol's reputation. In her cross-examination by Haba, Carol testified that she would prefer to have the reputation she did before accusing Trump, as opposed to the popularity she gained, which she said lowered her reputation. After that day's proceedings, the court adjourned for the week. During the trial, Haba again targeted the connection between Carol and George Conway, prompting the latter to state that there's no secret there. On January 19th, Haba requested a mistrial in this case on the basis that Carol had deleted emails containing death threats. Judge Kaplan eventually denied the request for a mistrial. He explained that starting the trial over again would not remedy the deleted emails. In a January 20th court filing, Roberta Kaplan said she intended to present new evidence on January 22nd, including out-of-court comments made by Trump during the trial. Oh. Okay. On January 22nd, court proceedings ended early because a juror and Haba reported they were feeling unwell. Afterwards, Trump made numerous Truth Social posts disparaging Carol. Haba requested that trial not be held on January 23rd as Trump would be involved with the New Hampshire primary that day. On the night of January 24th, Trump posted 37 times to Truth Social about Carol. On January 25th, Carol's counsel cited Trump testimony from the New York civil real estate trial in which he argued he was worth billions of dollars, supporting Carol's request for $10 million or more in damages as being relatively conservative. Carol's team rested its case that day. Trump briefly testified, saying he stood by his 2022 testimony that Carol's claim was a hoax and a con job. He also said he had never instructed anyone to hurt Carol, and in a comment stricken from the record, that he just wanted to defend himself, his family, and the presidency. Trump arrived late on January 26th. As Haba talked out of turn, the judge told her she was on the verge of spending some time in the lockup. Jesus Christ. Shortly afterward, minutes into Roberta Kaplan's closing argument, during which she argued for $12 million in damages, Trump suddenly stood up and left the courtroom. God. Don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Just stood up and left. On January 26th, the jury deliberated for 3 hours and awarded Carroll $7.3 million, in emotional damages, $11 million in reputation-related damages, and $65 million in punitive damages. Woo! The jury found Trump had committed sexual abuse and forcible touching, 2 of the 3 elements of Carroll's battery claim. Trump said he would appeal. The judge advised the jurors not to disclose that they had served on the trial and forbade them from revealing other jurors' identities. In a January 29th letter to Judge Kaplan, Haba cited an article from the New York Post asserting that Kaplan... Dude, come on, mouse. Asserting that Kaplan, as a senior litigation partner, had served as something like a mentor to junior litigation associate Roberta Kaplan during their nearly 2 years of overlapping time at Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison law firm in the 1990s. The following day, Roberta Kaplan called the allegations utterly baseless and said she could not recall directly interacting with Lewis Kaplan at all during their shared time at the firm. Haba said Roberta Kaplan's response had seemingly resolved the issue. Okay. On January 30th, New York Governor Kathy Hochul mentioned the case during a bill signing ceremony for a law expanding the state's legal definition of rape to include non-consensual vaginal, anal, and oral contact, effective non-retroactively on September 1st, 2024, so that it's not ex post facto, as that guy came in earlier said. Love that he came in there here to say that, got debunked, and he ran away. On February 19th, a lawyer for Carroll stated on MSNBC that their team was continuing to monitor Trump in a legal capacity, as he had that preceding weekend repeated his claim that he had not known Carroll prior to when she made her allegation against him. I don't care about the rest of this. ABC News defamation settlement. In March 2024, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News, I guess I should include this. In March 2024, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News, oh, it was ABC, I nailed it. Woo, go me. Repeatedly made false statements that the jury found Trump liable for rape. That's not necessarily false. There is an ambiguity in the statement. They found Trump liable. What do you mean for rape? They didn't find him liable for the tort of rape. They found him liable for the tort of sexual abuse. It was sexual abuse, right? Yeah, sexual abuse. They found him liable for the tort of sexual abuse for an act that constituted rape. So saying he was found liable for rape is not itself an untrue statement. He raped her, and he was found liable for doing that under the tort of sexual abuse. Trump subsequently filed a defamation lawsuit against ABC News, alleging that Stephanopoulos' statements were false, intentional, malicious, and designed to cause harm. In July 2024, ABC News motioned to dismiss the case, citing Judge Kaplan's comments that Carroll's rape accusation was substantially true. The motion was rejected by the presiding judge. In December, ABC News settled the defamation lawsuit a day after a judge ruled that both Trump and Stephanopoulos were required to sit for depositions in the case. I think it would be difficult to say that there was actual malice in that case, considering that there is a very viable way to interpret that statement that is true. Legal experts said that the settlement, which occurred prior to motions for summary judgments, was agreed to earlier than is typical in the pretrial procedures of defamation cases. They said that it may have been linked to Trump's status as a president-elect or was negotiated to avoid turning over potentially damaging information in the discovery process. Puck reported that ABC News leadership was highly concerned about the contents of emails and texts from Stephanopoulos' phone, which would have been turned over in the impending discovery phase of the suit. The terms of the settlement required ABC News to pay $15 million to Trump's presidential library, $1 million to cover Trump's legal fees, and issue a public apology expressing regret for Stephanopoulos' inaccurate claims against Trump. Let me, Know Nothing attorney, say it again here, without fear. Trump is a rapist. He was found liable in a tort suit, in a civil suit, for a tort, for acts that constituted rape. They didn't constitute the tort of rape, but they were rape regardless, and he is a rapist. Sue me, I will not settle. If I ever get sued for that, and I settle, I promise you here and now. Let's see. Can I make a contract out of this? If you bring evidence to me that I have settled out of court for a lawsuit brought against me for allegations that I said that Donald Trump is a rapist and raped E. Jean Carroll, and even that he was found liable in a civil suit for actions that constituted rape. If you bring me evidence that I settled out of court for that, I will delete this entire channel. I will delete my Twitch channel. I will delete my YouTube channel. I will delete all social media that is related to Know Nothing Attorney. There. That is now an enforceable contract. Because I am asking you to do something, and I am offering you compensation for doing it, consideration for doing that thing that I have asked you to do, which is bring me evidence of that. And you can now accept that offer. And unless I publicly rescind that offer, you are now able to accept that offer by giving me that evidence, and then I am required to follow through with my side of that contract. Great, it's now on the table. If anybody ever out there wants to get rid of Know Nothing Attorney, you now have an enforceable way to do it. Okay? We have covered Carroll v. Trump. Now we can get into less familiar stories next time. Huzzah. And with that, let's just do a sign off. I don't know if anybody's still hanging around, but I'll do my sign off regardless. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too, because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And we are constantly learning stuff on this channel. I love it when people bring questions to me and we can actually learn these things together. People can see what kind of knowledge that attorneys have that they are lacking, that they shouldn't be lacking, that attorneys should be making available to people all the time. And I'm always learning. I'm learning because people ask me questions. Or people point out that I'm wrong. So anyway, as usual, as always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you personally for that to be true. You deserve to hear it, and it's real. Life is hard. It's always been hard, and it always will be hard. And the way you face each and every single day the way that you do is remarkable. So I'm proud of you for that. So stay remarkable, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you tomorrow night. Again, at a reasonable hour, probably. Good night, everybody.